Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. KA100 Junior main event getting ready to get started. Nate Dogg, Nathan Dupuis lining up on the inside of row number 1. It'll be Mad Max Weiland starting on the outside of the front row for Magic Kart. Jackson Gibson and Travis Pettit on row number 2. Max Christia, Nico Orbezo back on row 3. Cole Medeiros, Alessandro Truccio, Nate Golseth, and Callan Berghofer. Your first 10 rows there. Then the middle page here from 21st back to 40th, and it doesn't end at this point either, going all the way back to 45 in total. We'll show the final couple drivers on your screen here right now as the field begins to make its way into the tram lines. 46 on the list. I don't know for certain if we have them all, but we'll certainly see it, as sadly the last few are a little bit out of sorts as they try to bucks their way into the lanes. And we'll get the green regardless. 20 laps and we're underway for KA Junior.
Good start once again. Already some trouble at the back after all that squabbling to begin things. We have a massive stack up. At least 5-6 karts involved. 3 stuck together.
Down into the infield section here, Nathan Dupuis along with Max Weiland as there's contact in the middle over by turn at number 3, the 832 out and into the wall. We've lost a couple as Nathan Dupuis leads the field through the infield and then out over the hill, down the back straightaway into the long sweeping corner. Truccio down the inside, defending from Callan Berghofer and looking to go by, as well as Davis Henry, as they all try to nestle into line on the opening lap. Side by side as well up ahead in the lead group.
All of them starting to sort themselves out here as Dupuis tries to stay low, tries to stay aerodynamic, try to pull up a buffer. Oh, wow. Some other drivers make some moves. Caution flag still waving out through turn 1 with all the incidents as several more karts get scattered about out of turn 3. We trying to hold back Pettit and Weiland in the main group. Then you have Orbizio amongst those who are setting things up in that second group.
You can see how much already the gaps are opening just from a couple of battles here. The top 3 with a decent gap back to Jackson Gibson, and he's got a little bit, to Nico Orbezo, and with Gibson now back behind Cole Medeiros, even that 3-pack has lost a little bit of touch with the leaders. Alessandro Truccio still defending further back for the 8th position, trying to hang on as we watch Max Christia high, low, inside lane, and through for the 839.
Having to take advantage of a massive slide. Gibson running to the back end of the kart in front, nearly spun him around. As they continue to rumble on the racetrack. Weiland has also taken over second, mind you, in all the squabbling. Speaking of which, some of the others like the 9-2 able to make some moves to be able to cut ahead as some of these drivers try and make up a lot of lost ground on this racetrack. Remember, some of the drivers like Vanchev are some people to keep an eye on, currently running about 15th.
Out of turns 5 and 6 and 7 now over to the S's. Nathan Dupuis, since taking command of the field off the start from the pole, he hasn't really had a challenge yet. Max Weiland settled in, pushing him away. Travis Pettit just trying to keep on toeing the line. Meanwhile, Alexander Vanchev, as we check in with him, around middle of the field. Remember, at the end of the pre-final for KA Junior, they looked like they were all together, and then things really got wild as now we see Vanchev send it on the inside of the 884. This is just inside the top 15. That was on Homer Heyman Jr. on the TKG Beer Alert. So 14th now for Vanchev in the 896, but he had to start 17th after all was done and dusted from the pre-finals official results. So we'll keep our tabs on him and the improvement that he's hopefully able to make now with just about a car length back to find Heyman. And then there is the DYL Kart Sport Comp Kart factory entry of Derek Wargo.
All of them getting into rhythm. I'm really impressed with what we've seen so far for Vanchev on this recovery drive so far. Up 4 spots, trying to follow Nico Gutowski and his tire tracks for the pack, who's gone up 6 spots so far. Top 3 keeping it very calm and conservative in regards to their battling so far. Give it a few moments based on the luck here today. But Weiland just waiting for an opportunity to maybe try and move ahead, as there is a lot more time to plot and plan when you have a final or a main event like this for these drivers, remember.
Up front, no change here. The gap now up to 1.6 seconds, and the build continues for the KA100 juniors. Still single file there. Still the same now as the next group's trying to match the same level here. Back from Nico Orbezo onward to Max Christia, Medeiros, Gibson, Truchot now in the fight along with Berghofer. They've gotten well away from 10th and Gabriel Balog. The Canadians up 4 spots to 14th. And Canada's already 1 for 1 so far on main events today, with Josh Conker taking the top honors in the main event. And again, for those joining us just now, what a race that was here, Justin. Edge of your seat. As always, the last few laps change everything when you have just a little bit more heat put in those tires and pushing them to the limits. We'll see something similar, I think, in the heavier classes for the 20-lap mains, like Master Shifter, Pro X30, and potentially with KA100. But 5 laps more. It's been a huge difference in the product of what the Pro Shifter class has been putting on track, and was a ton of fun to watch. And we've still got, of course, after this main event, a ton more racing coming your way. The youngest superstars are currently on grid right now with the Micro Swift category. They were exceptional yesterday. Mini Swift was spectacular. They run later in the lineup. KA100 Senior is also a full house, 45 drivers strong, third in the lineup here for the afternoon's semi-pro mains. And then everything gets closed out with Pro X30. 5 laps in, 15 laps to go. And unfortunately, for anyone looking to be in the top 3, something needs to change. There it is. Max Christia going by on Nico Orbezo for the 4th position. It'll move him now a little bit closer to the lead, but he's got a hefty gap to close on up, and I don't know if they're making really much progress right now. They were 1.7 seconds back with that pass. Now they're 1.9.
No, they're not progressing enough. They need to be able to try and figure out who's the fastest in the respective group to close on up at this point. And for a lot of these drivers, it's quite simple. They just don't want to work together. Medeiros continues to go back and forth in terms of this alignment so far. And this is going to keep on costing him more and more ground, all while Weiland gets control of the field up at the front of the pack. And we know Weiland has been a difficult kart to be able to try and keep up with for the most part here this afternoon here in the Magic Kart.
Side by side, Jackson Gibson down the inside. Max Christia now back to the 6th spot. The more they trade that 4th position, the lower or the worse their odds get of being able to make inroads towards the leaders. Let's see what this next lap opens the gap up to. Well, give Cole Medeiros credit, even with having to make a pass there. They didn't necessarily lose anything, but now they're going to lose a little bit as Jackson Gibson goes to the point of the 2nd train.
They're spending more time battling for 4th than they are closing up. Still a fair amount of time to go, but the main thing is I think those drivers who are battling kind of almost are at the point where it's going to be near impossible for them to gain. Vanchev, meanwhile, is doing a mega job on this drive. He's now up 8 positions with another move. He continues to just make slow move after slow move and is making it look easy with those passes so far. Orbezo just up the road, next for him to deal with.
Yeah, Nico Orbezo for Iron Rock Motorsports, the small Houston-based operation. Has a handful of drivers here under the tutelage of Charlie Swain. And Nico's been with him for a long time. This weekend, a return back to a familiar environment. Had him starting really good. He's now, of course, crossed the loop back in 8th. And the next one to make a run at him will be the driver on the move at the moment, Alexander Vanchev from 17th. Now closing in on Orbezo. There goes Truchot on by. Here he goes. Gets that spot away. That'll be another one on the docket for Vanchev. So 9 spots up for Alexander. And behind him, Callan Berghofer down the inside, defending a little bit from the 884 machine of Homer Heyman, trying to hang on to that last spot inside the top 10 for the AKT Racing Team. Nico Katowski, Gabriel Balog, Derek Wargo, Nate Golseth, your top 15. Oh, Berghofer, a bit of a hip check there to Homer, but I think Heyman should get through, and Katowski and Balog all able to freight train past the Georgia native Callan Berghofer.
And that time, lucky he didn't get the front bumper sawed off with that contact. One of the drivers that runs a lot here with the club scene here too, with it being the home track for TKG. Usually runs up at the front, first or second, with its relative teammate in those club events here in the Pro-Am circuit. But that's all while Vanchev is still your fastest car on the racetrack by a sizable margin. When he isn't making passes, he's running at the same pace, if not quicker than the race leaders by about a tenth or so. He set the purple lap time, after all, for a good bit in the 58.8 with what he's been able to push forward. Some of the others, though, still trying to square away what they want to do here. It's not over yet amongst the fight with Gibson, Medeiros, as well as Cristia. Cristia just looking to try and find a way to get back to the middle car yet again. They continue to go back and forth at the halfway point.
Jackson Gibson, Cole Medeiros, Max Cristia now having leveled out, evening the pace to the leaders. They're not any bit slower. And as tough as it will be for these young drivers to think about the very end of the race, if they're able to visualize the fact that the gap, while it may not be coming down, is at least holding station, 2 seconds back with a 3-pack has pretty high odds of putting them with a chance to at least get onto the podium and maybe steal the win away, because you just never know. 2 drivers, they might wait till half a lap to go or 1 lap to go. Oh no, 1 up and over. One of the comp karts, that's the 830 that has gone up and into the wall. Mason Kuhn, he was 25th, and it looks like it was while he was battling with Valentino Santian on the Paralymp potentially, or Matt Cagle around the bunch there. They were all really close together. And this right here is exactly what I mean as the yellows wave down at turn 1. No passes allowed. That's notable as we saw Nathan Dupuis go back to the point over Mad Max Weiland. Not only is that noteworthy for the fact that it could potentially back them up a little bit further to 4th, 5th, and 6th, but I don't know if that yellow came out early enough that they might try to make an argument that that pass would be under a yellow zone.
Yeah, that is a little bit borderline. The flagman had been out a fair bit there at the time. This could get interesting the next time by the flag stand. What they may deal with Dupuis. Apparently it was looking like that margin right now. We'll have to keep an eye and see if Dupuis has to give the time back here as Weiland tries to find a way to regain the ground on the rear end of the 841.
Let's look at the gap now here with that pass in 1 and another lap by. That was a 4/10 leap for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Yellow flags continue to wave down by turn 2. They should finally have those drivers cleared in a way here shortly. We'll see if we can get an update on Mason Kuhn. He obviously was up under his own power, but a scary moment for him down in the hairpin with contact. And indeed it was him and Valentino Santian coming together. But Jackson Gibson trying to will his way up to the front. 6 different race teams represented right now in the top 6 positions. And if you go back to 7th and 8th, you've got 2 others as well. Nash Motorsports leading, Magic Kart USA, Travis Pettit for Speed Concepts Racing, Jackson Gibson, albeit losing the 4th spot there, but for Ryan Perry Motorsport, Cole Medeiros for Racing Edge Motorsports, and Max Cristia for J. Howard Driver Development. Alessandro Truccio still 7th, Alexander Vanchev 8th, Nico Orbezo 9th, and Nico Katowski on the TKG Beryl Art has gone by his teammate for the 10th position of Homer Heyman Jr. 7 laps to go, 13 down, continuing to pound away here from MCC, and confirming now both drivers, Mason Kuhn, Valentino Santian, cleared up A-OK. We stay green.
Yeah, now we haven't seen any pass back. We haven't seen any signal involving Dupuis here, it looks like, for now, for Weiland and Pettit. No one's been able to make any moves, just all staying in line and work together. Medeiros has been amongst the drivers that continue to have to go back and forth in that other group, and they are slowly chipping away despite the back and forth, it seems. For now, it's been interesting to keep an eye on because so far, those drivers forth on back have continued to be chippy. Weiland has retaken the race lead on Dupuis.
Yeah, Max Weiland, a half car length back to Dupuis, and then all back to the bumper now as they go through turns 2 and 3. 6 laps remaining here from MCC, and 1.6 seconds from them back to Medeiros and Gibson. Max Christie has started to reel back into that grouping there in the 6th spot. Alexander Vanchev in 7th. Alessandro Truccio in the 8th position. Nico Orbezo in 9th, and Katowski back in 10th. It was only a couple weeks ago Max Weiland got his first career U.S. national win, and then followed that up with a very close run to end second in the 2nd junior main on the day. Travis Pettit is looking for that maiden Pro Tour win, I believe, and I know Nathan Dupuis would love to get one here. He's won at almost every other level we've had in North America. Canadian national race winner, a CKNA regional and Canadian winner, and he has been exceptional this weekend with a big improvement from Texas. At opening day for the KA juniors, Nathan got to 2nd and defended so fiercely to stay there that it allowed a huge gap to form onwards. And even at the end, it didn't matter because he got finally shuffled back to the end of the top 10. It's been a different Dupuis this week. He's been a little bit smarter when it comes to trying to play the race out and not get too rattled if one driver or two even go by. And the patience being displayed by himself, Weiland, and Pettit is why they're still holding the gap back to 4th, 5th, and 6th. But you also, of course, have to give a kudos to patience for them and a never-give-up attitude to Alexander Vanchev, driving from 17th on the grid. He's up to 7th. He's been the fastest driver on the circuit by himself by nearly a 10th for the last few laps, willing his way to the front, clawing, doing everything he possibly can to get a sniff of the draft to the next group. But he's going to need some assistance to get all the way up to the top 3 spots and maybe fight for the race win. Right now, back in P7 with only 4 laps to get by 6 karts. That's a heavy order even if he was on the bumper of them. But being 2+ seconds away, he needs the battling to start here now. And we stay in line through turn 6 and 7 with issues further back. Nico Orbezo around and into the wall. He was battling with Katowski.
Yeah, Orbezo's race is kind of falling off now as a result of some of these incidents starting to pile on up in this one. Oh, this is now, wow, Vanchev to give him a shout once again. He is still continuing to chip away time after time, still setting the fastest laps out of anybody. If this race was a 30-lapper, we might be talking about Vanchev potentially closing up to the race leader's main pack, but not for now. Dupuis makes the move on Weiland, makes it easy into turn 1 with the yellows cleared in that section. Only less than 3 laps to work with.
This one's going to be close. Max Weiland, Travis Pettit, they've had a big gap out back. It is slowly shrinking now. Cole Medeiros can almost taste the draft off the back of the leading trio. This young man, a winner on Sunday in Texas, trying to do the same thing here again in Cincinnati. Through turn 11, Vanchev still closing in as well on his own, now down to 2.4 back from the overall race lead. Even closer than that, of course, to that middle trio. And here we go for the lead. Weiland makes the first move down in turns 14, 15. Now as they head to the dog leg, Pettit into 2nd, Dupuis back to 3rd, coming to the double sticks.
2 laps to get things done, and look at that. That other pack is now right in the range of the others. Pettit goes for the race lead, takes the dive up turn 2. Now goes single file as they go their way to turn 4. Pettit playing hard defensive. All while the others start to accordion behind. This pack of 3 has turned to a pack of about 7 fierce and hungry drivers.
Alexander Vanchev closing up here to this group of 6, licking his chops with that many all wanting the win, all wanting to stand on the top step of the podium. You never know what could happen. He could still end up in a really good spot after this as they all fight for the bottom side. Big contact. Dupuis ends up getting shuffled all the way to the outside. He'll drop back to 7th. Now trying to fight with Medeiros. He'll get back to 6th. And Vanchev, just like that, sneaks his way into the top 5. But it's Weiland versus Travis Pettit. First weekend on the Pro Tour aboard the Carlos Sainz Speed Concepts racing machine, trying to bring them a win. Weiland trying to get his 2nd. No room there in turn 2. Everybody low, and Jackson Gibson still able to close in. He's now only a car length back from Weiland as they head for 4.
Weiland gave some brakes that time. Pettit nearly turned into him through turn 2. All while they rumble off to turn 7. Weiland needs to line things up right. Lost some ground through sector 2 here. Up to the S section they go. Right now, 1 kart length the difference. Weiland needs a big run to be able to set things up the hillside through turn 11.
Big crest over the hill here as Max Christia covers the low side. Alexander Vanchev, nowhere to go for him now. He's starting to get gridlocked on this final lap. Dupuis high, back low, coming to the line. They're not going to trade for second. This will line up for a massive drag race. Travis Pettit trying to hang on. Will the motor work all the way as he taps the side pod? Here comes Weiland to the line. Pettit holds.
Pettit almost celebrated a little too early. That was close.
Yeah, that's the most embarrassing way to lose a race, I would say. But Travis Pettit, it didn't happen. He knew it. We weren't sure, but he believed it. Travis Pettit and Speed Concepts Racing by 46 thousandths of a second. Victorious in KA100 Junior. Weiland gave it everything he had, but a picture-perfect final lap for Travis Pettit. Jackson Gibson onto the podium. What a great performance for Ryan Perry Motorsport and that young man. Max Christia 4th. Alexander Vanchev, if he ends up in a chance to fight for the Pro Tour title at Newcastle, it will partly come down to this comeback drive from 17th on the grid to 5th, and for most of it, all making the moves on his own. The seas never parted. He had to continuously outpace the field and claw his way there. Nathan Dupuis, what a heartbreaker for him, led the most laps and ends up P6. Cole Medeiros, Alessandro Truccio, and Nathan Golseth and Gabriel Balog, your top 10 from our very first main on the day. And let's go down to the scales for a fired up young man. Travis Pettit is a KA100 Junior main event winner on the SKUSA Pro Tour.
Travis Pettit, you're a national race winner once again. How does it feel, man?
Feels amazing. I've been working towards it every single day. Working out, working on my nutrition. Oh my God, it means the world to me. I've been putting so much work for this moment right now. I couldn't have done it without my dad, Speed Concepts Racing, my engine builder, Switch, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm just so happy and pumped.
And what a turnaround for you yesterday, right? I mean, you were at the back of the field in the main event when the red flag came out. Talk about, the hard work that went into getting to the top step here today.
Well, I mean, yesterday you kind of had to just wash it away because today's a new day, and never give up, and you keep trying, and just keep your head forward and be humble.
Congrats, Travis. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
How about that? Travis Pettit, race winner. What a turnaround on Sunday. His father Adam, of course, super happy. What a moment, and what a way to capture it all there. Congratulations to the Pettit family for the big-time win. They've still got to gear up, of course, along with the rest of the field. There's more racing on tap today for many of the drivers you just saw later on in X30 Junior. But Travis, he's going to be able to take a moment before anyone else with the racing gets on, as we take a moment to step aside for a word from our partners, and we will return. Micro Swift.
All the way up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? And it's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent.
Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Junior.
Alex Stanfield played it perfectly here. Told him to wait. Stanfield wins the Duffy in 2024 for TV Kart.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
All the way up to the finish.
Here we go. Micro Swift getting set to roll. Lennox Lockhart will start on the poles. There's a spinner just behind the graphic. That's the 288 machine, I believe, or 228, I think. No, 286 of the RPG Cosmic driver there that just went around. Meanwhile, with your field, it's Lennox Lockhart and Aiden Go. Yesterday's feel-good winner. Both drivers getting their first career national wins on the SKUSA Pro Tour this season. Lockhart in Texas, Aiden yesterday. Slate Harrell searching for his after a fantastic run he's been on. He rolls from third along with Dutch Westbrook, who led the points now after yesterday's events. Brody Stoffel and Samuel Chavery back on row 3. Joey Joe and Mason Brody back row 4, and then it's Caden Cladera and Brody Brown on row number 5 as they begin to form through the final couple of corners. We'll take a look back. It's a scratch, unfortunately, for Liam and Tristan Francisco. So actually, indeed, where we'll end, 20 drivers in total for the Micro Swift class on this Memorial Day weekend. We've had the sun out most of the day. Now in the afternoon, it's become a bit overcast, but it's still beautiful outside. Temperatures in the lower 70s. The track temp's heating up, and it's only going to heat up some more. 18 laps on the docket. Micro Swift away in green.
And a great run for the outside Brago, but not so great run for some of the others. Already some contact to the barriers. At least 2 or 3 cars make contact.
Samuel Chavery, the one out and into the wall there at turn number 2. And along with that, we saw Bo Wyatt get knocked sideways on the Hotes driver development, Gillard. And as all of that transpired, out front, Aiden Go has slipped away with a massive lead. Lennox Lockhart back to second and a good ways back following the first few corners. Slade Harrell third, Dutch Westbrook fourth. Joey Zoe sideways, and I think he went around. Joey Zoe with a spin right in front of the pack here at turn number 11. And man, a spin on the outlap for the 286 to Joey. And now a spin on lap number 1. He just got a bit too much curb, and that's really backed the pack up. Brody Stoffel and company, they're going to have their work cut out for them as they try to recover now. There you can see Bo Wyatt still going after getting popped in the left rear tire in turn number 2. And as lap 1 comes to a close, we got to look at the gaps now. That was a near 2.5 second blow to Brody Stoffel and the rest of the field. The top 4 with a healthy gap back now with Aiden Go out in front.
Yeah, Go gonna have to try and see if he can put the Go gadget moves to keep this gap ahead of the rest of the field. We know the draft impact is pretty strong. Now let's take a look at the Shop AKR replay from the onset. Go made the move on the outside, but the incident pops up at the mid-pack right there. The 741 goes for a slide.
Samuel Chavery around and into the wall in the marbles there at the outside of turn number 2. The one driver that was just an innocent bystander with the pack colliding in front of him. This pack right here, the gap to 1.1 seconds to Parolin's Aiden Go. What a weekend already it is to go home on, but now leading in the opening stages of this 18-lap main event. He was in such good spirits. He was so fun to listen to when Caleb and Alex were able to pull him aside for a post-race interview following his first SKUSA Pro Tour win yesterday afternoon. He did it in spectacular fashion, and now he's trying to dominate as we got one off. A big moment there between 2 of the Velocity Sodi drivers, Grayson Knifick into the back of Caden Cladera into the back of Grayson Knifick.
Yeah, not what Knifick probably was expecting from a teammate there with a little bit of contact. Oh, well, Jack Kotelski tries to gain some ground. How about 7 spots already for Kotelski to be able to slice and dice through this pack? It's all going to be all sorted out pretty soon in terms of the running through. But Kotelski has some raw pace that he's been able to unleash to be able to close up and make some of this ground up in just a couple laps time. An impressive drive for Kotelski.
Check it out for the 221 machine, the Bennick just back there behind Kotelski. Zev Gottschalk, we haven't seen much of the young man from Curacao in the micro category at the pointy end of the field. He was incredible at Speed Sports, now knocking on the door of a pretty solid end to the weekend here in the Sunday main event. And he's got a healthy gap with a lot of cushion. Plenty of time to just keep his eyes on the karts in front and the task at hand from 8.5 seconds back of the lead, but still 2.5 back to the next cars that could find him with Liam Astalis, who made his karting debut just 5 months ago. Again, these young drivers, 7 to 10 years old, the beginning stages of the national tour, and for some, like Liam, jumping right into the deep end of the pool very early on and skipping ahead of some of the local and regional racing around. But he's adapted well off the first weekend, now into the upper mid-pack, and he's going to have a shot to maybe get to Gottschalk there. Zev a little bit out of shape, and Mason Brody will take over 11th.
Yeah, a little bit of a shock with Zev in this race because...
Oh, no, my mistake. That's Brody Brown we have on screen.
Yes.
Miscue there. Apologies. Mason Brody by Brody Brown there on the 217. That was P6.
Yeah, I was about to say a Gottschalk's a little bit surprised in terms of running order here so far, but all of this as well, the Bennett continues to go back and forth in terms of some of this shuffling. Kwiatkowski makes up an error spot for good measure in the midst of that. That time over Brody, it looked like in that move to be able to make the pass and keep his forward progress going up to 9 spots gained so far for the 292.
Jack Kwiatkowski, TKG Beryl Art here. He and his brother Nico have been contending for who can end up a little bit better. Both of their progress has been very mirrored in Jack moving up to Mini and really finding his own home this year, and Nico having some impressive runs in his rookie season in junior. Now as we check in with the battles up front, this is all still a good ways back from Aiden Go. You see how Lennox Lockhart there, past Dutch Westbrook, an emphatic tap of the helmet and point forward from Lennox. He wants to hunt down the race lead. And good news for him, there's plenty of time still left. Only 5 in, and even with some back and forth, they are not losing all too much. In fact, Lennox was able to close up his gap to Aiden last time by, about a 1/10.5 better. So a 103.88 or a 63.88 for Lennox Lockhart, a 64.03 for Aiden Go.
Yeah, Go so far been able to control the buffer. That's been the bright side for what's been a stellar race for him. And remember, that was a popular win across the paddock yesterday for Go in terms of that organization, in terms of his growth development-wise as a driver. He seems to be trying to withstand all the odds right now. The top thing is Lockhart and Westbrook slowly chipping away. The thing is, they aren't really necessarily working together here, Xander, in terms of this battling in this group. They keep on going back and forth every once in a while in this pack, and that's not going to help them fully close up this interval on the racetrack.
Yeah, they need to, at this point, just settle in and try to make use of the lengthy straightaways here and push. 2 can be faster than 1 if they're really in sync, and they've only got each other to do that with now, as unfortunately for Slate Harrell, he's lost touch with them. Kudos to Brody Stoffel for keeping the pressure on. He's pushing with everything that he's got right now, but he's still all alone. 4.7 seconds out of the lead. 2 back from the car in front of Harrell, and another 4 back to Jack Kwiatkowski, Mason Brody on screen here, and then Cladera, Brody Brown, and Zev Gottschalk.
Yeah, looking to shock things forward at this point. Some of these drivers right now in terms of their momentum swings. Darrow's having a great run. We'll say we haven't talked about much of that driver all week. Zev Gottschalk, plus 10 so far. Did not get a great finish in the pre-final after being very fast all weekend in his machine. So Gottschalk seems to be putting himself in prime opportunity to battle with these two. Oh, that's wow. Gottschalk trying to go back and forth in the midst of this fight. Just couldn't find a way around Cladera cleanly in terms of the run.
Top of the helmet there. Gottschalk now to the inside on Cladera. Able to get past. Back in turns 4 and 5. And he moves himself into the 8th position now. Zev starting last. Charging up. The 221. 12 net on the day. And he still has halfway to go. This time by, it'll be 10 laps remaining for the Curacao driver, and it may end around there. If he can put his head down, he might be able to get up to his teammate in Brody Brown. The Houston, Texas native teammate, of course, to Gottschalk, the Bennett driver, 6th and 8th, my mistake there. Brown in the 217, Gottschalk up the board, but Brody Brown just 2 car lengths back. It was so close for the two of them, and for the first time we've really got good eyes on the pair that it's been throwing me off a minute, Justin, so apologies again. Gottschalk, 8th, Brown, 9th, Mason Brody, and Jack Kwiatkowski about a second up the road from both of them. For Brody Brown as well, this is up, down, back to neutral, and then trying to close back up to Cladera. For the lead, as we check back in, Lennox Lockhart, he's making some progress here, Justin. That was a 2/10 swing right there. It's definitely possible with 10 laps remaining at a 2/10 swing. I mean, you would be there with 3 laps to go, and Then when you factor in the slipstream effect, once they get within about 7 or 8 tenths, it could get even closer. So for Aiden Go, how much go does he have left? Is there anything more that he can find? Or at this point, is it an inevitability that the two behind pushing on the long straights like this will eat it up? That lap, he was able to match him. No change in the gap, 1.4 seconds.
And Go's doing exactly what he needs to do in terms of the pace up at the front. Just maintain his own race, keep on chugging away, make sure there's no major mistakes, no major risk in terms of the racing line. Don't risk yourself losing too much time, or better yet, destroying your tires. As long as you keep on maintaining your racing line, you're in a great spot. Now keep in mind, Lockhart is extremely fast as a driver in general. We've seen him be rocket quick and break away himself at tracks like Charlotte Motor Speedway in the past. It's going to be where it comes down to how these two cooperation themselves, though. A little bit of squabbling again with Westbrook, seeing an opportunity, slip drafting his way past Lockhart.
I don't know. Again, Dutch Westbrook, obviously, he may have noticed that while they were making some progress, it had not made any more improvement the last time by. So he obviously thought maybe now better to have him in front. And it did pay off a bit, although Lennox is going back in on him. These two are going to really hurt the momentum of trying to charge up the field. Lennox trying to keep the spot, tell Dutch to push him along. And with that pass, the 1 point, the 10th and a half they just gained probably just went out the window and then some.
Yeah, that's going to cost them a lot on the lap marker, to say the very least. The last pass I wasn't too much of an issue with, because it's down a straightaway, take the run, didn't hold each other up down into the corner in the first place.
Oh.
Now Lockhart going off the racetrack, definitely going to hold each other up once again. Westbrook slips on by. Lockhart's now pushing very hard as a result of this, and this is going the wrong direction in terms of what the run needs to go for these two.
Yeah, in Lennox's case here, I mean, you have to understand as a driver, and he'll learn, as many in the older classes already have, the general motto that most of them abide by is, all right, if you're going to fight me and say that you want to lead us, that's okay. But the moment that you make a mistake, whether it's a missed apex or a dropped tire like that, I'm going. And you can't take it too personal, even though, yes, on paper, you guys should be giving each other leeway because you were making progress, you were closing in. But this is the kids that are just still in elementary school and approaching middle school, 7 to 10 years old. We're asking a lot of thinking out of all of them, and it's still so impressive they're able to do what they're able to do already. For Dutch Westbrook, so close to a big-time win at home back for round number 1, but he was at the same time still exceptionally well across the entire weekend. This opening stretch of the year for the 233 of Dutch Westbrook obviously has paid off really, really well. The first two mains, of course, putting him in a great position to fight in the championship. And then beyond that, having a fantastic day yesterday that has only allowed him to just grow and grow and grow the margin. And the win, my mistake, on Sunday back at Speed Sports. Godshock ending second, following, of course, a pole on Saturday, a pre-final win on Saturday, and a second in the Saturday main for Dutch. It has him looking pretty, and Lennox was right there with them almost every step of the way. As, oh no, we've lost one. Katowski around in turn number 2. Jack Katowski working with Mason Brody and crew. And a spin in the opening hairpin takes him down the board from 6th.
You've been in a great position for most of that run, and not anymore. As a result, a big mistake it looks like for Katowski after running so well and making up all those spots, double-digit spots gained before that moment. Not anymore. And now this is all well. Westbrook and Lockhart still 1.8 seconds back. They'll need a miracle to close up to Go at this point. Aiden Go just focusing on his mark still with this gap. It's down to 1.3 this lap, however. They gained a fair bit. Westbrook at least did on the interval, half a second all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was a big-time moment for Aiden Go here with 5 laps remaining, losing quite a bit. He'd been really consistent around the 103.6s. But to his credit, this track is so tough to get right lap after lap. 104.0 that time. That could have came from any of the 16 corners, but I think this section especially here, it's one thing to be able to hit the same mark on the ground with all four wheels touching lap after lap, Justin, but when you're having to try and use every inside curb as a ramp, hitting that perfectly and sending metal into the air and then landing and trying to stick the landing and hit the next corner, that is really tough to get right, especially as the race drags on and you may, I wouldn't say lose focus, but maybe not be as locked in with no rabbit to chase either, because he's been all alone all race long.
Yeah, he's been just dominating, Go has. And again, stretch the gap once more. Westbrook and Lockhart, I think, have kind of reached the limit on how far they can get for the most part. They can chew up the gap, but they have to close up another half a second to 0.3 of a second to really get the full draft effect. I'm not quite sure if Go is going to get reeled on in here unless they really start working together. And Stoffel, mind you, is still behind there. He's been setting the fastest laps out of anybody in this race and slowly reeling on in the top 3 as this is going on to join that conversation. And Stoffel may be able to sneak away and get a podium here if he's able to catch Lockhart or Westbrook off guard.
Yeah, what a testament to just never give up. Keep your head down. Keep on pushing. And again, if they make some inroads on the gap like they are right now, Brody Stoffel might just be able to get there and steal one, overcoming a near 5-second gap at the end of the opening couple laps. And that lap right there, Justin, it was big. Lennox Lockhart and Dutch Westbrook know they're gaining on the leader. They just need to stay in line for another corner, maybe 1 or 2 more laps, maybe even just a lap, and they'll be right on the verge. But with 3 laps to go, it's so tempting. You know how close you can get to the lead, and Lennox knows that Dutch leads the points. And he doesn't want to give him a chance to get another 20 markers with a main event win with a big swing from P1 to P2.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to score as many points as possible, especially when it comes to a championship fight in general. The Micro Swift, mind you, had that 80-point buffer for Stoffel behind Westbrook. Westbrook had the advantage beforehand. And Westbrook at this point, don't know if he's going to be thinking about points racing in the moment of it itself, but it is something to consider for him as this goes on here. Can he maintain points? He has closed up a fair bit all of a sudden. Go has slowed down significantly. Last time by, Go lost nearly a second to the leaders, and all of a sudden, it goes from almost impossible to possible.
Wow, could it get there? They were making some serious gains, and just like we saw in the Pro Shifter main event, the last few laps, everything comes together, and what looks like a very spread out race, maybe a said and done race, all of a sudden blows wide open, and here we are in Micro Swift. Aiden Go with a lap and a half to go, and the lead is gone. It's a 4-car pack. Dutch Westbrook in second in the blue and orange. Lennox Lockhart on the Velocity Sodi trying to get second. Not quite there. He'll have to set up the crossover. He's going to pull alongside. What does Brody Stoffel do as they race for the white flag? All 3 of them making major gains towards the race leader, but they've got to decide who's going to be the one to send the first punch, because Aiden Go has led 17 of the 17 laps so far. Can he make it one more? Lockhart around the outside to the lead out of turn number 3.
Able to make the kart stick, confidence in the grip right from the get-go. Good crossover by Go. Late arcs Lockhart up the track. Lockhart into the grass. Take him out of the conversation. Westbrook now tries to make it stick from his outside through 7. Westbrook trying to find a way to pressurize Go into mistake as they make their way up to the treacherous turn 11.
Right now, no moves here, but a bobble by Go sends him wide. Dutch Westbrook to the lead for the first time in the main event. Brody Stoffel was 5 seconds back at the end of lap number 2. He's on the bumper, looking, trying to find a gap. He needs to set up this last turn the best that he can. Westbrook real low. He got bogged down. Here comes Stoffel. He's trying the long way around. Aiden Go's going to get by both of them in the dogleg. Back to the lead. Aiden Go is going to win the main in Micro.
My goodness, 25 one-thousandths of a second. That went from looking very easy to, oh my goodness, that amount of gap lost was incredible. Some thumbs up from Go as he's able to get the edge on Westbrook by the thinnest of margins.
Dutch Westbrook was so focused on Brody Stoffel going to his left that there was nothing he could do once he noticed that the Parolin had gone all the way on the shortest way around turns 15 and 16. And at the last moment, he gets the win, gets fully clear. Westbrook made one last run at him, but it wasn't enough. So now Aiden Go gets his first career SKUSA Pro Tour win yesterday, and he completes the weekend with his first ever weekend sweep of the main events. What a drive and what a performance. We'll get to hear from him in a moment, but let's take a look quickly here at the results. Aiden Go, Dutch Westbrook, Brody Stoffel, Lennox Lockhart, Slate Harrell at the end closes down to 5th, and on down the rest of your field as here we go to the scales. Aiden Go victorious once again.
Let's go, bro. Come on. Yes, my motor is crazy. Hey, don't touch it. Hey, don't touch it. Do not touch it. Leave me. Sorry. Aiden, great drive. I got lucky. Aiden, good job. Sometimes luck is the lead, bro. Good job, baby. Let's go. No.
Celebrations continuing down on pit lane for Aiden Go as the master shifters begin to roll their way out onto the racetrack for a 20-lap enduro. Scott Presti getting set to line up on the inside of the front row alongside Skitchy Barnes. Larry Pegram and Pierce Baldus back on row 2, and an issue evidently for Scott Hargrove after the pre-final win has sent the Catalyst driver development, a Talcart driver, to the rear end of the field. He'll have his work cut out for him here in this master shifter main. Carlos Lopez, again, a scratch on the weekend, and Cameron Castles was on the docket to run, and I believe he's out there, and indeed he is. So 2 of the CDD Ital Karts ready to roll. That'll make us in total 8 deep here for Master Shifter, presented by Rocket Racing Company. Yesterday, it was a similar story in terms of the pre-final to today's, Justin, pretty tame, and then the main event was all together almost the entire way up until the very last moment. But the driver who was first to the finish line, and Scott Presti, had an issue post-race. Keep an eye as well on the radar there at the bottom right corner of your screen. Inclement weather potentially looming here just a bit towards the east side of Cincinnati, where we're nestled right now in Batavia, Ohio. Working our way about midway through the main events from the Superkarts USA Spring Nationals. Scott Presti, again, on the inside of row number 1. Skitchy Barnes on the outside. And it'll be a nice and easy grid, much easier than the 38 pro shifters they had to line up. And as Scott Hargrove gets into his box, they'll give the cross flags for the all clear. And we'll go to the lights for the final time this weekend. Master Shifter main event action from Cincinnati's green.
Able to get a good launch. Presti again holds off the force of the field. Pegram already up to 3rd as a result of his start. Barnes trying to take a higher arc. Begin his run behind. Will Barnes be able to try and take it on the racetrack is the huge question here today. He nearly gets the back end of Presti, winding the way through turn 7.
Up and over the curbs in the S's here on this opening lap charge. And side by side there, Justin Kelly versus Pierce Baldus, battling it out. Larry Pegram as well trying to fend him off. So working through the end of the opening lap here for this 20-lapper in Master Shifter. The Scots up front, Pegram into third, Baldus fourth. Scott Hargrove trying to work his way forward as Tyler Gilboa smoking a bit down the front straightaway, is struggling. But the first lap in as we head back down to pit lane for now a two-time SKUSA Pro Tour race winner in Aiden Go.
Thank you, Xander. Aiden, first of all, what a last couple of laps in that main event, dude. How'd you get it done?
So we since went on the formation lap, I just wanted to try my best, so I went around the outside. I made the move, and then I just pulled away until I saw Lennox's mom. She kept telling Lennox to push Dutch so they could catch up, and then coming into turn 11, I would come in way too deep. I would slide in and dip a tire. That's how they just kept catching up.
Describe that last lap to me, because at one point you fell back to about third there, went back to the lead. Did you think you had the move there for the lead?
Yeah. If you aim first, you're last.
I love it. All right, lastly here, who do you want to thank for this win, bud?
I would like to thank Marco, my data coach, my dad, my mom, and all of my competitors like yesterday.
Congrats, Aiden.
Thank you.
What a run for Aiden Go and Parolin to stand on top here in Micro Swift. 2 laps completed, 18 laps to go. Scott Presti's lead still holding and starting to maybe open a little bit, Justin. The last time was close, and check this out.
Well, that's a bit of an congratulation initiation from the field, I guess you could say, as part of celebration.
It would have been a lot cooler if it wasn't so cool outside, Justin. Maybe if when the sun was out, but I think Aiden's probably going to be a little chilly now as he goes back to the pit area. But yeah, cool to see so many kids. That was a bunch of the mini and the micro drivers especially, and a handful of his Micro Swift competitors congratulating him. And he really did a great job all weekend here. Didn't seem to really ruffle any feathers. Just drove exceptionally smart, let the battles open up around him. And speaking of battles, as we lock back in here on fourth, Scott Hargrove, Pierce Baldus, a car length apiece here. Hargrove was very quickly able to make work of Justin Kelly, Tyler Gilboa, and Cameron Castles. But it's been less so here in the top 4. He'll get that spot finally here. Was working on Baldus for a little bit, and now he can start to set his targets on the lead. Last time by, though, not at the speed that he needs to contend for the race win.
Yes, indeed. So far on the charge still amongst this pack as they go on. It's not a surprise to see Hargrove gain all this momentum across the field and be able to make all these passes. Now the question is going to be, how far can he actually get on those tires before they start to reach that cliffing point on performance, on temperatures, from having to go push, push, push just to be able to move up. Pegram going to be hoping that the push, push, push is going to reach a little bit too much right now to be able to keep him on the podium at a track he runs a lot at.
Skitchy Barnes losing all that time to him. I mean, last time by, it was such a huge swing back in the wrong direction for the number 1 plate. Yesterday, he was able to really find something extra during the break in the action, and obviously, he was just able to probably chat with the likes of now SKUSA Pro Tour race winner Josh Conker of what worked for his Pro Shifter Maranello go-kart. But for Scott Presti here in Master Shifter, this one already opening up with another half-second blow to the rest of the field. 0.2 only, though. He was able to open the margin to Hargrove. So Hargrove next best, and that's why we've got our eyes right here. Larry Pegram bailed out of yesterday's main, an instant mechanical issue for the TKG Bureau Art driver. As you mentioned, a lot of laps here, and has continued to stay around even as it started with having fun with his daughter Riley, to now watching her continue to blossom in a budding sports car career, along with what hopefully would have been a better Pro Shifter main event weekend for the pair at home, but obviously involved in a scary moment off the start that included Liam Jones as well. And thankfully she's all good, and hopefully at the sidelines getting to watch Dad try to fight for a podium.
All that's with Hargrove closing on up longtime sports car driver across the U.S. and Canada. And spent several seasons in Porsche GT3 Cup Canada, for example, and also ended up picking up a USF 2000 championship back in 2013, I should say. Hargrove with a lot of experience in cars. All that started with the budding karting career back in the 2010s, and right now he looks to move his kart to the inside with the pass.
Scott Hargrove onto the podium. He said, Justin, it had been a few years since he'd really competed at this high level of shifter kart racing action, but it's all about the build-up to the Supernats. He wants to join the ever-growing star-studded cast of the pro shifter category. And why wouldn't you? There is just about every major brand in the karting world trying to vie for victory there. What a big moment it was for Marinello, and it'd be icing on the cake if Skitchy Barnes could find another gear and sweep both of the gearbox categories here on the weekend. Again, obviously the win yesterday after the results were made official. Right now he is digging deep to pick the pace back up, but he still lost 0.2 to Presti. Presti's pace at a 53.7 average. Hargrove a 53.9, Barnes a 53.9, and a lower 54 for Larry Pegram on the overall. Last time by, of course, losing some due to the pass by Hargrove. But in the end of the main yesterday, Hargrove really faded off hard, and whether that was on purpose or not, maybe just trying to conserve himself for today, or maybe there was an issue. We didn't really get to know whether or not, if he has a kart in front that he felt like he could catch, could he when the tires began to wear. While the pro shifters had the full 25-lap run on fresh rubber, the master shifters, again, had to run qualifying and a pre-final, but they do have a slightly shorter race. So the initial drop-off is mainly over the course of that first heat cycle. The third, you're still going to see it at some point lose some major grip, but it's less so.
Yeah, right now, Hargrove having some great pace to be able to chip away here, missing the inside again. Barnes has continuously trying to run outside up out of turn 12 and through 13. Here we cost him as a result of that line in the second step of the podium for the time being. Still half a race to go next time by. Hargrove just seems to be trying to bait his way around Barnes on raw pace. Last time by, half a second picked up yet again to be able to chip away this gap.
Skitchy Barnes here a car length back to Hargrove, and a big slide there down the inside, and a bit of a bobble there for Skitchy. He slipped trying to pull the gear to get out of turn 6 and 7, and now he's got to deal with Hargrove here at the halfway point. It's not over yet. Hargrove for second from the back of the grid. He's got that one done now through the last sweeper, and last time by, he did close a tenth and a half on Scott Presti, but it is a huge gap to close on in. Halfway in, halfway home. Can Scott Hargrove, after having to lose the pole from winning the pre-final, post-race, go into the rear, can he close up a 3.3 second margin to Scott Presti? Everything else on the racetrack is all pretty evened out. Tyler Gilboa, the mechanical issues we noticed on the opening laps, had him come to the pit lane at the end of lap number 8. And the rest of the drivers on circuit. Cameron Castles a little further back in 7th. Pierce Baldus trailing Justin Kelly by about a second or so. Those two have been around each other most of the day, most of the weekend as well. 5th and 6th. And again, congratulations to Justin and Tiffany Kelly, who will be expecting their first child later this year. And that's, of course, why we don't see the pair on track. The last time, most of the time when we see one of them, there's the other racing in the master shifter categories. And they have been welcomed family members to the paddock, and now they'll be welcoming one more to the traveling karting circus that follows all of these major events. Super cool for them. And again, congratulations. Hopefully Justin can take something out of this weekend and build on it for the finale in Newcastle. They've got a busy schedule, as do we, over the summer. And I don't know exactly what their commitments will be, but I have to imagine they'd be wanting to race as much as they can.
Yeah, as family, you definitely want to try and grow a family, but you also when it comes to racing, racing is life, and some would say. Racing is an art form. Racing is motivation. And if it's the one thing as a family you have that connects you together, wouldn't be surprised if they keep racing as long as they can, together as a grouping and as a family. And then, of course, being able to raise a child that will end up potentially racing with you in the future and on the racetrack.
Yeah, there's a running joke, right? At this point, the clock starts now until their son or daughter would turn 5 years old, and it's time to park put their helmets on the shelf, grab the wrenches only, and go kid kart racing. But Larry Pegram and Riley are a testament you can still do both. And he is right now having a solid run here in the 4th spot. And in fact, last time by, was able to get back kind of on the pace of Skitchy Barnes. Now, he's let him slip up the road about 1.9 seconds. So is he going to be able to reel him back in? He'd need the Bermuda driver to fade a bit more. But part of the reason why Skitchy has been able to sport that number 1 plate as the reigning champ last year, it was a matter of consistency over the course of the season, and we're seeing much of the same so far in 2025 as he tries to keep the 1 plate on that Maranello. 7 laps remaining. Scott Presti's lead holding more than enough right now, even as Hargrove continues to eat into it. We go down to pit lane here with Alex.
Thanks, Xander. Hodgson, it's been one of those weekends where we spoke this morning. You said, listen, the kart feels good, we're just not that quick. Did you feel like since we spoke before that pre-final, it's been any better heading into this main?
I think the only thing I have to add to that is I know it's my lead foot here, but I think I managed to bend my throttle stop and bend up my throttle arm, and we definitely didn't have full throttle in the last run. I've been here before, and you change that and it's significant, and sometimes it's not. So I guess you'll see at the end of this 20 laps whether that was a limiting factor for me. And looking forward to. I'll wait until the noise drops there. Looking forward to another long final. Yeah, certainly we've been close at points this weekend, but not significantly, at the front with the race-winning kart. However, we're going to give it everything here, and excited for it as always.
Thanks, Oliver.
Thanks.
Well, right as we thought things were all kind of sorted out here in Master Shifter, an issue for Scott Hargrove, the exhaust disconnecting from the power plant, sidelining him as he was trying to close the gap up to Scott Presti, and maybe, just maybe on a Hail Mary run, bring the fight to him. He clawed his way from last on the grid up to second, and the charge will end there. But now the focus shifts a little bit. It promotes, obviously, Barnes back up into that second spot, and Larry Pegram now up and onto the podium on the TKG Bureau Art with 5 laps remaining, all safely separated. And then Justin Kelly inherits the 4th spot. Pierce Baldus should inherit 5th, and he does. And Cameron Castles, our 6th man, will be able to move up from the 7th spot by 1. Not the way he would have liked to get that, though, seeing his teammate off on the side of the road down by turn number 2.
Yeah, very unexpected, as I believe Alex may be standing on by. He's got James Overbeck. Alex.
Thank you, Justin. James, at a track that's treated you very kindly in the past. You're rolling off P8 here, P7 on the inside. How are you feeling headed to this main?
It's definitely been a difficult weekend. Speed's definitely been there. Just need to make the right moves at the right time. I've caught myself making a lot of bad moves where I should have been a little more patient. Then other times I should have been a little bit less patient. So it's definitely been a difficult weekend. And even both rounds of SKUSA so far, I feel like I haven't done the best driving wise, make the best decisions. So hopefully we can rebound here. I was a little impatient at the start last time, and I think it definitely messed me up a little bit. I went back to 14th, I think, so crawled my way back up to 7th. I know we're fast. Had one of the fastest karts on track last time, so I think if I can put it all together, I can hopefully get up there with Paulie.
Yeah, you talk about getting up there with Paulie. I mean, throughout the year so far in this season, we've seen you and Paulie work together very well in the KA class. Is there anything that you think you're missing to Paulie, or is it just one of those situations where you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, I definitely think it's some of the wrong place, wrong time. In practice, you're back and forth, kind of time-wise compared to one another. And even most of the day yesterday, we've just been back and forth on lap times. I haven't been super far off one another. It's just he's been in some better positions than me. We've fallen back on close to one another, but can never really get together like we have at some of the other events this year. So hopefully we can recreate that. Hopefully I can get up there, help him out. I hope for him. Hopefully he can get away and get gone and get the win. But hopefully I can get up there with him. Hopefully we can work together and get this one done.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Two laps to go. Scott Presti just trying to bring it home for the Presti Racing Croc Promotion Group. And a way to turn things around from such a bummer end to yesterday. I mean, obviously, Justin, we're just seeing back-to-back sessions. But for Scott Presti, off of the way that the day ended, and then, of course, even this morning, a nice and better start even than he had for Saturday. You smoke the field like this, I mean, this will be the biggest margin of any session so far on the weekend for any division. This is the greatest way to do it, and always good to end on a high note. It makes that long drive back home just a little bit easier.
Yes, absolutely, especially when it comes to domination station like this. Presti just showcased here. He's been the king of the long run all weekend long on pace in this class. And now he looks to close it out. White flag coming out, final time around already. The crew members waving hello to him as he looks to go on cruise.
Yeah, one more lap around to close it off. Larry Pegram still digging, trying to give everything that he's got left in the tank right now at Sketchy Barnes. The gap has come down. It's only a second and a half between the pair, but ultimately he's just going to be too little too late in this 20-lapper. Yesterday, a DQ issue in post-race tech for Scott Presti after dominating the main. It would have put him in the points lead, and now he's in the hole. But he can rebound today, and he knew that the moment he woke up this morning, that it's a new day, it's a new chance to fight, and a new day to put an absolute whooping on the field. The biggest margin all weekend we've seen for a main. Scott Presti wins in Master Shifter. Sketchy Barnes will end in second. Larry Pegram will stand on the box today after a mechanical took him out of contention before the race really even felt like it got underway yesterday. Justin Kelly, a fourth place result here to close out the weekend. And Pierce Baldus on Kart CRG USA's number 676 will round his way through the back sector for the final time and hit the line along with Cameron Castles just a few moments back to close out the field in sixth. That's, of course, again, those that were able to finish. A heartbreaker for Scott Hargrove back in seventh. Tyler Gilbo, Carlos Lopez, and that'll do it for Master Shifter. KA Senior is getting ready. They'll be on track, and we return after this.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. Long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
It's like $20 a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like $50 a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars.
Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion, Paulie Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome, from Briggs 206 to Mini to KA100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Karts on the racetrack for KA100 Senior by Nash Motorsports as they now make their way onto the grid and onto the tram lines formation. Paulie Massimino, Diego Ramos should say. Then it's Fernando Luque along with Ruben Moya, the top two rows. Lemke, Hernandez, Overbeck, Kaminsky, Hansen, and Wheeler. Green flag is out. We're underway once again from Cincinnati. And a good 2x2 start for the most part. Chaos in the back of the field. At least 5 karts go around going through turn 3. One other kart slowed down the straightaway. That's because 2 more have made contact. That includes the 948. That is Cooper Auclair. That is torn apart. 2 front bumpers absolutely shredded on parts of the racetrack. A chaotic start through Sector 1 for the field. The field makes its way through Sector 3 now. Massimino over Ramos and Luque. Remember to start things off. Well, it's changed up a little bit. That's because Moya's been able to jump his way up into the second spot just like that. Also able to hold on is Massimino. Hernandez with a great start up to third already on the racetrack to be able to jump up early as Ramos falls out of the podium spots on lap 1.
Yeah, not an ideal start at all for him. But, again, this is KA100 Senior. You're able to make up for moments like that because you know that it's going to be a fight. Only if the leader gets a huge gap and is outside the draft window do the races really start to calm down. And that's not the case right now. Ruben Moya taking command here with a 2-car length gap. Back to Jose Carlos Hernandez. Ramos back in third. Massimino shuffled to fourth. As we check down in the field, there's battles all around the racetrack. That was middle teens right there. Frankie Mossman, Henry Wheeler, Carlo Rochetti, all going at it back 15th, 16th, 17th. But a lap and a half in, a long way to go here on this 20-lapper. This is a look down to Donovan Bonilla. It's been pretty quiet this weekend here in KA100 Senior. And the Ralston Performance Group driver is going to get a little bit of a gap now to try and make it less quiet. As there was a move nicely done. Nico Sarfati into the top 10. Finn Bailiff pushed back 2 positions now.
Oh, that's wild. The 901 of Overbeck tries to make up for a bit of a rough pre-final we've seen earlier on. Already, we've had 4 retirements this race. Auclair, Fernandez, Joseph Hewitt, and Blade Fountain have all had issues so far this race. All that stemming from the lap 1 carnage to begin the action. But all of this is now while the rest of the field sorts itself out. Moore sends up the inside. That is Lemke looking to make up some ground. It's going to take some work, though, for him to make up the top 5 with how much time him and James Overbeck has been battling back and forth and have lost now to Massimino's rear end.
Fernando Luque, quick look back there to his fellow countryman, and Donovan Bonilla trying to signal forward at the same time as defending into the corner. Definitely sends a bit of a mixed signal, but he was able to clean up that sector, get a nice launch, and pull back away. And now he'll get closer to the lead. Big move, Jose Carlos Hernandez to the inside on Ruben Moya. He takes command. Diego Ramos now still in position, back in that third spot. Paulie Massimino lurking on in the 4th position. And Brandon Lemke a little ways back in 5th, but in a lot better spot to fight for a race win than yesterday. And the more that these two go at it up front, the more that he'll be able to get in the mix of it. And if we go back to Overbeck, where at the site of his first career U.S. win, he was so close so many times, this place as well and this event as well. But when he did get it done, he got it done here, riding in 4th for nearly the entirety of a main. Kept his tires cool, kept his tires clean, and pulled the trigger with about 4 laps to go, picking them off one at a time. By the time we hit the double sticks, there was nothing anybody could do. He had about a car length or 2 gap. Brandon Lemke with Speed Concepts Racing, the speed has been there, but I don't think that he's been happy with a weekend result as of yet. So maybe today's the day that the Wisconsin Wonder Kid, who's far from a kid now and a veteran and a former X30 and KA100 U.S. level national champion, is closing the gap. Last time by, that was a nice chunk taken out, 3/10 to be exact.
Yeah, right now keeping things pretty tight in terms of that bundle. Working very well with Overbeck, fellow veteran, to be able to close up the deficit and be able to try and chip away as much as possible. And this is the type of package, mind you, with that draft effect. You can chip away over the course of 2, 3, 4 laps. It's not so easy to break away unless you do break the toe and then hold on to that momentum throughout the course of the run. That gap has officially closed on up, it looks like, to Massimino, to under 2 kart lengths, because Ramos has lost some ground to him with the swap. Ramos going the wrong way, loses 3 spots in about 5 corners.
Not ideal for Diego there. That was right at the wrong time to lose the 3rd position to Pauly, because now the whole pack has closed up, and it's only going to get tighter as we start to trade the lead. Moya back to the point with the forward direction. Motorsports Pontano, Jose Carlos Hernandez, and Moya and Massimino all making their debut on the season in the category this weekend. Moya and Massimino pulling double duty. Jose Carlos Hernandez was there. He was present at Houston. I asked him, I was like, why aren't you running? He's like, well, we weren't sure. By the time we wanted to go, the class was full. They were one of the first ones on the list here this weekend. They wanted to have a shot in the fight for the win in KA Senior, but sadly contact with Lemke's going to knock him back down.
A little bit of argy-barging as Hernandez squeezing off the Nanabe of Manila. Going a little bit touchy there that time through the grass to be able to get around. Oh, that's allowed the top 2 to break away yet again. Pauly Massimino doing Massimino things. He's been looking to have fun and be able to walk forward throughout this race. He's been trying to have fun in these types of races. He's been trying to power forward to have chances for wins, and so far Massimino doing exactly what he needs. Overbeck trying to be the commander, meanwhile Verhagen and Bailiff quietly. Finnegan Bailiff running in the top 10, has gained 3 spots throughout this run.
Let's see if he can make it a little bit more right now. Finn Bailiff still has 2 more again behind him, obviously. 12 deep in that pack, going to Sarfati going to Nico Sarfati and Jose Carlos Hernandez. 9th for Bailiff again, 10th now for Hernandez, and 11th for Sarfati. Pauly Massimino and Ruben Moya worked together in the pre-final to break away, but they didn't have James Overbeck nearby. He sees his teammate. He wants to get right there to be right behind him. So the number 1 who lives and has grown up 30 minutes down the road from this place. It's been so much to him. There's so many family members and friends that have been able to attend his races here, and I imagine there's a lot this weekend as well. He's into 2nd as we've got issues. Christian Velez has pounded the wall down at turn 1, and as well Hamza Anbar. The 2nd day in a row with a massive crash. He looks to be A-OK. We'll see if the boys down on pit lane are going to be able to get a word with either one of those 2 drivers if they come off before the end of the session. A rough go for the Arcane Motorsports camp this weekend. And now we got another one around. It's Hernandez. Jose Carlos spun around, and it looked like there was contact with one more that sent him there in the middle of that sweeper.
Getting a little bit chaotic now as these clouds continue to settle over the racetrack. Oh, wow, guess who? It's Overbeck, and he's brought Lemke with him right into the conversation to be able to try and move forward. 2 teammates from BJR looking to now command things But the major thing is Lemke. He is fiercely hungry. We've seen him make some aggressive moves here in this pack and want to be able to join the conversation all weekend. This is the first time he's joined the conversation up front. Same for Bonilla, able to jump his way up to fourth.
Donovan Bonilla past Ruben Moya there. Diego Ramos still lurking back in that sixth spot. I'm not sure if he really has the overall outright speed, but to his credit, we may not have seen it come to life yet because we're only still 9 in, 11 to go. The cross flags aren't out. But three drivers who have had a good amount of experience racing each other, especially in Massimino and Lemke. 1, 2, 3 with a big moment there for Brandon. My goodness, he about had the same exact spot that Austin Garrison hung the right rear off in turn 1 yesterday. But it didn't seem to bother Lemke here at all. He still almost was able to follow Overbeck through. So he stays back in third, but no issue right there in the pack. And now, for the first time today, the number 1 plate is in position number 1. James Overbeck here at the point at the halfway mark.
Now it's the matter of can the teammates find a way to work together and try and control things. Lemke's kind of the breaking of that bottleneck, so to speak, or the breaking up of the strategy game. For a lot of these organizations here today, there's been massive separation between them on the racetrack. There's been a lot of diversity team to team up at the front of the field, sometimes as much as 9 or 10 different organizations amongst the top 10. Now with BJR having 3 drivers inside the top 10, things starting to go their way as an organization here in this final, here in this main event. Now the main thing will be, what will Lemke do to break them on up? When will he take a chance, and when will they feel urgency with the RPG kart closing up the gap and being the bridge kart for Moya and company?
Yeah, Donovan Bonilla last time by 2 full tenths faster than the BJR duo out front. He will, like you said, be able to bring the two groups together. Ruben Moya, Diego Ramos, Oliver Hodgson has gotten to the lead of the next group, but they're about maybe a second and a half away from the main leaders. And look at this midfield gaggle. That is going to be Carter Thompson on the inside. Cooper Auclair, Chase Buscalia. Auclair went out earlier. Buscalia on the outside. Wheel to wheel with the 924 machine. This is going to be Wyatt Downing. They're battling with him for 20th. Thompson, Chris Harrower, Autumn Fisher, Quentin Angeli and crew. Victor Day Alencar, top 15 run for him so far. James Overbeck, though, up front, not a wheel wrong yet. Paulie Massimino happy to ride right there behind him. And when we interviewed Paulie after the win at Trackhouse a couple of weeks ago, of course, James was able to get the better of him in Daytona when the two went 1-2 in the invert order, the order they run right now, in March. And Paulie's words were, well, as long as it's one of us, I'd love for it to be me, but really it's about having our group continue to grow. And that's a testament to the growth that Paulie's really put on display over the last few years, coming into his own, finding his niche in the sport. He's about as active as anybody on the track at Trackhouse Motorplex, and most of that is spent developing and coaching the next generation, and he's done a bit to help get James to his level, along with all the expertise under that BJR camp with Brandon Jarsakrek, longtime and well-respected driver coach Austin Miles, and the list goes on there. Of course, you've got to give a lot of kudos as well to the two teams behind them, the two powerhouses, Speed Concepts Racing and Rawlson Performance Group. They both have a serious shot, and for Donovan Bonilla, it's really the closest he's been to having a good shot at the lead. I feel like over all 4 race sessions, really, this is looking like it could play into his hands in the same way it did for Overbeck's maiden win, and I don't think will look like yesterday's main did for Paulie. With this few laps remaining, there would need to be some fireworks to let one of the 4 get away.
Yeah, right now, I can tell you right now, if you're teammates, you're likely trying to limit those fireworks until you know for certain it's going to be one of you two as an organization that takes the win. Limit the variables, as we touch upon so much here, and limit the opportunities for others to be able to take advantage. All that's while, mind you, Moya and Ramos have hooked up with each other those drivers last time by lost ground to the leaders. So Moya and Ramos have lost wrap touch to the other drivers. They need some battling to close back up. I was going to say, though, amongst the teammates that are 1 and 2, for example, that are working together, you don't want to hold up your teammate. You don't want to cost your teammates a victory. You don't want to cost the organization a victory. And BJR right now seems to be in position to work together and have the raw pace become united as one, with Massimino willing to push Overbeck and help Overbeck in the championship fight, who was 256 points back coming in through this run compared to Mossman.
Yeah, I mean, this would be talk about a major leap in the standings for James after a Texas weekend that didn't seem to really treat him all too well. You know, he was in there with maybe some arguably good pace, but not quite enough when the dust settled and the checkers flew over the two mains. But if he has a solid weekend here, especially today, potentially ending up on the box, all of a sudden Newcastle becomes a much clearer and a much more possible reality, especially when you go back and you know that he won there last year, and he had to go into that weekend fighting with Henry Wheeler and Finnegan Bailiff to secure the championship. And sadly for those two, it's been a season less to be desired for. Finn still just hovering the edge of the top 10 right now in the two-plate. Wheeler outside the top 10 on the Mike Doty Racing LN Kart. It's a switch of scenery for him from the longtime Beryl Art driver. But the best he's got right now is just inside the top 15. And while I wasn't sure if we were going to see a breakaway here, Justin, it's starting to form. Paulie Massimino and James Overbeck last lap, a half-tenth to a tenth here and there, are beginning to get away from Brandon Lemke and Donovan Bonilla.
That's because they're cooperating as a unit, as teammates that know what's at stake as an organization and how much it's important for the championship to get some separation built up between the two of them. And we're seeing how this is going right now for these respective drivers amongst them at the moment. Now the tough thing's going to be, if they start squabbling in the later stages of this race, then there's an opportunity for Lemke to break up the teammate party if he plays his cards right here. And that's the tough thing right now. He needs to keep within a close enough range to where if Massimino can't make the pass or Overbeck leaves the door open after being passed by Massimino, that Lemke is able to jump on through it and break up the teammates and break up the competition between the two of them.
Yeah, Brandon Lemke, he needs one more lap, I think, to maybe break back on in and get another car length. And if he can do that and then split them apart, from then on it'll be a dogfight. You can see they're disconnected a tick now. Massimino didn't quite get the exit off of 11 to shove James down the backstretch. And through the turns 13, 14 complex, Lemke closes up a little bit more. Still disconnected up front. That's good news for Lemke and for Bonilla. Unfortunately, Ramos and Moya, even though they've swapped the order, I don't think either one of them are going to be able to get up there and fight with the top four unless they really begin to white line. But I just don't see that happening from James Overbeck, knowing that he still has a teammate right behind him. And again, still with 2.5 laps remaining, it's a full comfort, fully normal line into four. And if anyone's frantic right now, it's really more so Paulie back there in second, trying to consistently gauge the mark and the gap back to Lemke.
Yeah, right now that gauging is 2 kart lengths that needs to be closed up by Lemke. And every time Massimino works and builds up the speed with Overbeck, it's not been able to close on up for the most part for Lemke. This time he's able to get within a kart length at least. Coming to 2 laps to go. Seems to be in good position to keep up here. The problem is, keeping up is one thing. Having the speed to overspeed is another. Now the teammates know with 2 laps to go. It's game on. Massimino gets squished. Lemke goes outside.
And Bonilla is going to feed him a wheel there at the exit at turn number 2. He'll steal third. Now Overbeck begins a bit of defending down into 4. 2 laps to go. He waited as long as he could. Tried to wither down the field. It looks like it's done its job. Bonilla closed in with some of the best laps of the race in the middle, but he hasn't necessarily made an impact yet. What can he do with Lemke potentially able to give him a shove. That was a great launch out of turn number 11 for Dono, and he begins to open just a little more than Paulie, but then still is kind of keeping a tab on Lemke behind. Brandon, on the other hand, able to go wide, high, and low through the back hairpins, trying to set up any kind of a run to will his way back into the fight. What do you do now if you're Massimino? He hasn't been faced with this situation yet this year with a teammate in Overbeck up front, but actually having competition right on his heels behind. Look at Lemke trying to go around the outside. He'll catch the marbles, but still with enough of a run to steal back third.
Good pass and some hand signals that time from Bonilla. Not happy that he had to get past there, and that's cost him a ton of ground on the top two. Now it's the matter of how Massimino tries to set up his teammate to be able to get alongside Overbeck. He was great in turn 11 last time by. Can he get a good run this time? A shower run by Overbeck. Here comes Massimino.
The skies continue to loom now, and Massimino around the outside gets the lead. James Overbeck went too quickly down to the inside, coming out of 11. And Paulie let the momentum carry him out to the groove. Final turn. Can you believe it? James Overbeck trying to block. He played it perfect all until the last part of the lap, but here we go. It'll be a drag race, and to the line, Overbeck gets it back.
What a run for James Overbeck to get the drag race once again. Had the better run in the draft coming into the final corners, and it's still a team 1-2. They're going to be happy with that.
Well, we'll obviously get to chat with James after this one, and if he could say anything, he could always try to say that he meant for that to happen, knowing that he was going to be able to get the slingshot move onto the last stretch to the line, that he was just letting Paulie by. But honestly, I think he might have gotten away with one there, and you take him any way you can get him. He's definitely been on the unfortunate end more times than not. Last year, this year, a different story. Another main event win, 1-2 result for Brandon Jarsacrack Racing. James Overbeck victorious here in KA100 Senior to leapfrog him into the championship conversation seriously here. Paulie Massimino, Brandon Lemke, and then back to the next in the points fight in Diego Ramos. Donovan Bonilla fifth, Moya, Fernando Luque, Oliver Hodgson, Finn Bailiff, Eli Warren. Your final top 10.
Thank you, good job, you. Dude, I fought that Blanco bad. Yeah, you did? Yeah. I said, I knew you were gonna get me, dude. Your shit rips out last I know. I can't do nothing. I can't hang with you. That's why I was like, I think I got him to the line. Just because my shit got off the bottom so much better. Swervy straight to the flagpole. Going down. Sorry. Thank you.
What happened in 11?
I overslowed the block.
Oh.
Can't lie, that was kind of shicey. That was kind of shicey. I was like, oh fuck, I lost. Alright, cool, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, B-Man.
You made it interesting.
Yeah, I told you I would.
We'll take a quick break here, folks. 3 more races remain, and we'll be chatting with our top finishers from KA Senior after a quick word from our partners.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this Brandon business, okay? Brandon this, Brandon that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats, they got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping. Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there? Dude, I'm doing a commercial. Dude, we have no time. It's about to start. Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR? MXC rims.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Attention Supercarts USA drivers. Be sure to order your complete photo package from On Track Promotions. All drivers receive a minimum of 40 photos from throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with instant access from our automated delivery system. Visit otp.ca right now to get instant access to your photos.
Brandon, what?
Welcome back here to the second round of the SKUSA Pro Tour. James, it seems like every time that we come here, we come to a 100cc race, we're always talking to you at the end of it. Walk me through that race. Again, you and Paulie for BJR, picture perfect.
Yeah, for sure. It was a really good race. I kind of talked before the race that I made a lot of bad decisions throughout the weekend, even the whole Pro Tour so far. I've just made small mistakes, and that's just cost me a chance to win. So, yeah, definitely just put it all together. Was patient at the beginning. I was a little impatient with Lemke. I probably should have worked with him a little bit earlier to catch up to the front guys. But once we got up there and then him and Hernandez got together, I knew once I got the third out, I knew it was on. So yeah, definitely great work with Paulie. Another one too.
Stop.
For just over $200.
I'm tired of all this Brandon business, okay? Brandon this, Brandon that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they
Karts on the racetrack for X30 Jr. by RPG. Let's take a look at their starting grid. Max Wyland starts on the pole with Nathan Goldseth in second position. Alexander Vanchev starts in third with Travis Pettit rounding out the top four. Tristan Murphy starts inside row 3 alongside Jackson Gibson, Colmaderos, and Tyrone Kemper Jr., the top 8. Kyle Drysdale starts off in ninth with Royce Vega in 10th. Sarah Bradley and Ashton Woon are in the first dozen. Salmon and Doan, then it's Chiraga, then Popescu in 16th. Joe rounding out the top 17. Barbe in 18th position. Anderson and Saravalli in the top 20. Rest of the field's on screen. 34 cars in the field of note. Helping at the back of the field after some bad luck in their last race in the pre-final. We're almost set to go racing for this final meanwhile here in X30 Junior, brought to you by Rollison Performance Group.
Ready to go for Rollison Performance Group X30 Junior action. Max Wyland and Nathan Goldseth on the front row. It is a full-on crawl down the front straightaway. And let's see if they can all survive down by turn 1. Oh, no, we got two stuck together. Further back, Luca Popescu and one more. All jacked up and out of line and at a halt as the green flag waves down to turn 2.
Some side-by-side still for the race lead. Goldseth around the outside trying to make it stick on Wyland there as the rest of the field makes its way through. No crashes, no issues. Big run for Vanchev already to second. 3 wide as one more driver has issues. It's the 789. That's gone off the racetrack. That is Alexander Savage again having bad luck.
Yeah, Alexander Savage this weekend just has not been solid. But again, starting in the Hornet's Nest where he did, it was going to be an uphill battle regardless, and it's only going to be tougher to, of course, get himself a decent points result now. As that was a big wiggle there with Alexander Vanchev going down and into the long sweeping turn 12 to Max Wyland. But it, I think, was more than anything else just trying to get some grip in the tires, knowing he was going to be offline and on the very first lap. He made it stick, and he'll lead at the end of lap 1 as we got issues for our top qualifier. Nathan Goldseth slowing down the front straightaway, looking like he's maybe thinking it's a throttle cable that has snapped on the number 730 RPM Tony Kart, and a heartbreak in the main for the second consecutive day now.
Huge heartbreak, and all he can do is sit there and stare at the steering wheel. Nothing you can do when the throttle cable snaps like that, really, at that point of the run. And now it's the matter of these drivers just trying to fight it out outside of that. Vanchev has takeoff speed compared to the rest of the field. He knows how to run away from the pack. Right now, Wyland trying to see if he can get Pettit to work with him to keep him within range. Remember, 4th on back. Spent so much time battling in the last running of the race where they kept on going back and forth, that they cost themselves a good couple seconds in squabbling. Maderos really just wants to move ahead and be in front of everybody he can.
A quick moment back into line there for Kyle Drysdale. He'll slot into 7th. Alexander Vanchev, yesterday able to break away, but due in great part to an opening lap skirmish for 3rd. That's not been the case today. We've got them all pretty nicely packed up front, at least for the first handful. And the rest of the field is also trying their best to keep the 796 within their reach. At this point now, Alexander Vanchev finds himself in an incredible position here to try and fight for a championship. If he can really seal off this weekend, considering you factor in the runs that he's had already from Texas, I mean, it would be a very improbable and uncharacteristic for his standards in 2025 weekend that he'd need to have to let the X30 Junior title slip through his fingers in Indiana. Let's go down to pit lane one more time. We were able to get a little bit with James, and then the issues malfunctioned for a moment. We want to chat with him and make sure we give him his full flowers for that KA Senior main event win as X30 Junior continues to roll.
He's going to do what he needs to do to win the race. So, you know, I had a feeling he would have passed me if if I didn't block, so I knew I had to, and I know I've blocked here enough. I know how the late race scenarios work here, you know, just in the past year. So just started blocking towards the end, and then I definitely messed up the block in the downhill left. I think it didn't help that we got a little separation from third, so it was just the two of us, so he was able to set up the corner real nice, and he just went straight around the corner, and I felt I had the race lost. I knew our stuff was good out of the last corner, so I was hoping I'd maybe be able to get a run off, but it came down to the line, and I was just able to edge him out by just a little bit.
Well, just talk a little bit about, as you see Paul Massimino right behind you, talk a little bit about, you know, the progression as well going forward. Newcastle next on the line for you. How much would it mean to be able to solidify a back-to-back championship here at the SKUSA Pro Tour?
Yeah, it's definitely the goal all year so far, but I've honestly been making it really difficult on myself. I had a rough speed sports. I came away with some all right finishes, and even yesterday came away with a fourth, just all right. But I knew I needed more to stay in the championship race today, and we were able to do just that. So yeah, Newcastle up next. That's another place I know. Hopefully, again, I know we're the beach hour.
Thank you.
Well, Paulie Massimino is again alive for the party. Why not do the ritual of celebration with the water bottle?
Twice on the day. You know, I mean, if I had 5 cents for every time I've seen that on our broadcast today, that'd be 10 cents here, Justin. It's definitely not an abnormal celebration, but funny to have it happening here when we might actually get some liquid sunshine not far from now. The clouds have been ominous for quite some time, and yet still we race on here for X30 Junior with fully slick Avinco tires. You can see that the cell is still on the southwest side of the city. We find ourselves kind of on the centrally located eastern side of Cincinnati, right about where the two ends are. So more or less, we're still a good ways away from anything being imminently threatening, but definitely something to keep a note on as well. We've got Kyle Drysdale slowing there, coming out of turn 6 and 7. Not sure what exactly may be going on for him, but our top qualifier from yesterday already well proved how good he knows to get around this place. And a bummer moment has got him now down to the 7th position.
Yeah, it's not been as good as what we've seen to start off today for Drysdale. Yesterday, it's getting tougher and tougher out there, is what I'm trying to say for him so far in the run. Every single lap, it's gotten tougher and tougher and more trickier and trickier. By the way, just got a note from the rain chance here. It's upwards of 59% depending on where you look, so it is becoming probable within the next half hour to an hour. But then again, that's for Cincinnati proper. We're just outside of Batavia, and that arm reaching around the area that's reaching to the outskirts right now is the one concern for that radar. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on for the races later. But this race right now up front, Vanchev has not been able to run away. Pettit's been able to run away with him instead this run.
Yeah, talk about a difference from one day to the next, you know, of the drivers from yesterday getting a chance to go deep into the night studying the data, the onboard video cameras that nearly every single go-kart has right above the radiator, in this case in the X30 Junior class, analyzing it over and over and over again. Travis Pettit had a front row seat to what Alex Vanchev was doing in the opening few laps to break away from him. And now, on day number 2, a full second chance, and he is maximizing it. As we approach halfway, he has not wavered once, staying right there in the tire tracks, directly in the shadow of the DHL-sponsored driver. Jackson Gibson and Tristan Murphy, on the other hand, well, they've lost a little bit of touch with those two out front, but that's partly due to some shuffling amongst the top 5. Now, with those two in line, can they close the gap back towards the leaders? And with X30 Junior on the racetrack, always providing some exciting action here, it's attracting still more even with racing done, to come and take a look. That's Zane Burgess' father, Kevin, trying to get a good view down on the front straightaway. And this race could get really dicey here at the end as Pettit was able to close it down to, well, basically nothing, pushing Vanchev across the line.
Yeah, still 1.2 seconds the gap between the leader, or rather second and third place, building up on the cushion overall on the interval. So looking very strong in terms of that right now. In terms of the teamwork, see what happens. More yellow flags, and someone has gone right through the barrier.
Oh, man, heavy impact for the 781 Italkart into the wall down at turn number 2. And a rough moment for sure. That was Matthias Broer, Asad Nikadambev. And he had been watching along on the feed, cheering on his teammate Scott Hargrove. And he had clawed his way up to 24th from 31st. So he was making some progress in the pack. Evidently something going awry there. He was right around Ethan Sky Manuchik and Matthias Broerkin as the yellows continue to wave down by turn 2 until they're able to clear the broken down 781 Italkart. But while we were checking and IDing on Assad, we've hit the halfway signal from Preston Buckley up on the flag stand. 10 laps down, 10 laps to go. And it's about an even second back to Jackson Gibson because last time by, he started to make some inroads towards the top 2. And he's not alone. Granted, Tristan Murphy now has taken command, so that may impede the progress a bit on this lap's charge. But both of them, a tenth to a tenth and a half to almost 2 tenths better than the race leaders. And this kid here, Ashton Woon, is also putting in some heater lap times, but he cannot get by Max Weiland. And Weiland pointing forward saying, dude, we were almost there. Stay behind me. But the young driver, originally from Arizona, now relocated to North Carolina, in Ashton Woon, would love to walk away from his first weekend in a full-size package in MCC, a place that he was exceptional at in the mini Swift class last year. Maybe some hardware to stuff in the trailer or to find a way to fit on the plane ride home.
Yeah, and Woon amongst those that we were expecting to be potentially in the conversation for the top 5 coming into the weekend, I think, based on what we've seen from him at various different racetracks across the nation and what we've seen from him in raw pace in general this weekend. It's just been very challenging for him to be able to do anything. And Woon, now in front of Weiland at least, seems to be picking up what he's been looking for all weekend in terms of raw pace, to be able to come away. Now it's the matter of can Woon get himself within drafting distance of the karts in front. That's easier said than done. He's just outside that main cushion of air that can pull him down the straightaways in theory.
Yeah, it's hard to say how much, again, that extra bit of following really affects the smaller karts. You know, the X30 juniors are able to almost match the lap times of the Pro X30s and the Pro Shifters, but there's a lot more pressure, I think, to hit the same minimum speed in the corner, having the extra weight on the go-kart. At the same point, of course, you're racing drivers that have been meticulously perfecting their craft, that you can't rely on natural mistakes and hits and misses to close up. You get behind a Gus Lawrence, a Ryan Norberg, an Austin Garrison, a Paulie Massimino, and even some of the top drivers graduating up out of junior, and you cannot bank on a single wheel put wrong. And that's where Travis Pettit finds himself right now, and the same really boat for Tristan Murphy. He needs to find that extra speed to reel in Vanchev and Pettit. He cannot bank on those two battling. At this point in their careers, they know exactly how to play this. They will not begin to really, I think, lose their heads or start trading blows until they know for certain that the race will only come down to the two of them in the fight for the win. And they have not really shown any signs of inconsistency or fading either, Justin. I mean, last time by, 56.7s. They've been at the 56.8s and 56.9s nearly the entire way, just hitting the same marks lap after lap, running out the clock, if you will, before it's time to get to that last stage of the race and the battling can open up again.
Exactly. It's about just at this point for the top two, just trying to make sure no one else joins the conversation. It's just all about them for the top two podium spots to be able to battle on out, and that takes a lot of cooperation in terms of those two. Keep in mind, you also have Murphy starting to chip away a little bit last time by. He did close it to under a second at least between the three karts in terms of distance, so it is starting to come down a little bit. It's just going to be the question. Can Murphy fully get up to the back end of the 729 and force these drivers to be able to battle it on out on the racetrack? That's easier said than done. It requires someone like Medeiros not to catch up to Murphy and let them try and get the work done on the raw speed and the RPM kart. Right now, Gibson trying everything he might meanwhile to pass Medeiros, having a hard time being able to keep up, puts a tire off in the grass. A lot of drivers have done that with the left side tires this weekend coming to the final corner, and it costs them an error 3 kart lengths.
5 laps to go. 5 drivers able to fit within frame. Max Weiland, Ashton Woon. They've gone back and forth again. Now with Weiland at the point of the pair. And further back, Sarah Bradley on the SCR. Sodi running in 9th. She's gotten past Kyle Drysdale. And the two of them have gotten a little bit further away from Tyrone Kemper Jr., who had a solid day yesterday, fighting for a podium. Today, a little bit off of where I think he feels like he needs to be. But to give you just a testament to how close this field really is, lap after lap, even back at Kemper Jr.'s position, even back here at Bradley's spot, they're lapping anywhere in the same 2 to 3/10 range as your race leaders, who have not gone once offline by passing. The entire 16 laps thus far, Travis Pettit and Alexander Vanchev, up until now, have stayed in tow. But now, just now, Pettit has taken command. And I think that must have been off the back of feeling the heat from Tristan Murphy breathing down, because he just laid a heater on the time charts. 56.332, nearly 4/10 better than anyone's gone all race.
And able to keep sporting forward now, especially with Pettit up at the front. Pettit now looking to try and continue what's been a very good afternoon for that 729 kart, for that program. Looking to make an adjustment to the radiator just a little bit higher up on the flap. Check up with Vanchev. Going to cue things back up. Murphy is now right there in terms of the queue, lined up, coming to 3 laps to go. And Pettit is gaining a lot of momentum to pull a buffer as he makes some adjustments too.
Small little adjustment on the radiator flap as they rocket down into turn number 2. And Vanchev with a little bit of a hiccup. For the first time in the main, in the X30 junior class, he finds himself not with clean air, having to follow at the worst part of the tire life, the end of the session. They've heated him up, and Travis Pettit has gotten to basically see Alexander Vanchev's entire hand, at least when it comes to how to get around this place now. Following, judging, trying to, guess where he may be stronger or weaker. And one thing you can do that probably is a little more hidden to the naked eye from our broadcast cameras, if you're the driver pushing someone, is mentally timing how long it takes you to get to their rear bumper down, say, this front straightaway. We've seen already multiple photo finishes today. And so when you're pushing a driver along, you're thinking in the back of your mind, okay, when do I get to him? Is it by 15? Is it by 16? Is it not till the end of the straight? Or in the case of Austin Garrison yesterday in Pro X30, he never really was able to get to the rear bumper of either Norberg or Lawrence. He had more bottom end speed, but nothing at the end of the straight. And he paid for it, unfortunately, at the line by 200ths. So that's something now that Alexander Vanchev can do. Is something Tristan Murphy, I have to imagine, has been timing as well. And for Cole Medeiros and Jackson Gibson with 2 laps to go, their only options are to try to pick up the pieces, hope for some chaos. Let's see if Vanchev brings it. He brings himself to the lead. Nobody off track yet, but they begin to scatter. Back to the point for the 796 and a lap and a quarter to go. Contact. Murphy up and over the right rear tire of Alexander Vanchev. He spins off. Vanchev goes off into the marbles. The points leader with a massive moment on the second to last lap, and now this race has completely been flipped on its head. Cole Medeiros to the point. Travis Pettit tried to play it as smart as he could to build a big gap to work with Vanchev. Now he's going to the outside. Around the outside of Medeiros. He'll get the lead back. 2-for-1 special. Travis Pettit back to the point.
Great power on the outside to be able to get the boost, able to close things off on Medeiros. All of them working their way through Sector 2. It's been a chaotic final couple laps all of a sudden. Van Schev had been looking like he was in control most of this race. Not anymore. They worked their way to turn 11. All while Pettit looks to try and secure things up front. He builds the gap. He builds a cushion over Medeiros.
Final lap underway through the sweeper. Nobody close enough in the podium spots, I think. Weiland tried to get there on Medeiros. Not going to happen. Ashton Woon gives him a little love. Nothing there. To the line. What a run. And around the outside pass, Travis Pettit sweeps the junior classes on Sunday.
Outright dominant performance here for his overall day, if you look at the stat sheet. But it came down to be able to make the move on Van Schev, and then Van Schev played himself with that contact situation with him in the 911 machine. Opened up the door for Pettit to just be able to drive his way through, able to make it stick with the confidence around the outside. Yet again, being able to show if you have the confidence and you have the kart, you can make that type of a move work.
What an impressive run here for Speed Concepts Racing with Travis Pettit. Able to score the victory over Cole Medeiros and Max Weiland, who will stand on the box for the second consecutive day in the division. Ashton Woon, Jackson Gibson, your top 5. Bradley, Royce Vega with an impressive charge on Sunday here, 10th to 7th. Solid debut. Kyle Drysdale, Alexander Van Schev, Tyrone Kemper Jr. able to slip his way into the top 10. But Van Schev's big moment on that last lap makes it his worst result to date. And Travis Pettit, 2 for 2 on Sunday.
Unbelievable, dude. Amazing. Oh, you deserve it, man.
Yes!
Oh, you deserve it.
Yes!
Travis Pettit.
Oh my God.
Well, we could see the emotion, but describe him to me. What are you feeling right now?
Ups and downs. I'm emotional. I'm happy. And oh my God, I just don't know what to say.
2 for 2 on the day in junior, but I want to talk about that last lap pass into turn number 2. How'd you do it?
You mean, I honestly don't know. I just sent it in deep, kept the car rotated, and just went, man. Just ripped the outside.
I love it here. And one more thing, Travis. There's got to be a lot of people you want to thank for this one here. You won in KA earlier today. You just won an X30.
I would like to thank Speed Concepts Racing. I would like to thank my engine builder, Speed. And I want to thank my family and especially my dad for, putting all this time and money into this racing.
Yeah, you and your dad have a pretty awesome relationship there. We see the hugs. We see the celebrations at the scale line. What does it mean to you, your dad? I mean, talk about the work that goes into it behind the scenes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, racing, it's not easy. You have to put in the work and put the effort in and just go.
Congrats, Travis.
Thank you.
Raw emotion and what it's all about. A father-son duo taking on the nation and the world's best.
Yes! Oh, yeah!
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Unbelievable, man. Oh.
2 for 2. I'm proud of you. You're awesome. It's okay. Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
Everyone was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Two more races remain here from the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Mini Swift and Pro X30 track cleanup continuing as we race on into the afternoon. The Midwest is busy with big events. The SKUSA Spring Nats, no different. Here as we kick off our summer stretch. And Mini Swift will be ready when we return with our second to last main and Pro X30 to close off the afternoon.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com? They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Are you ready to...
Engines firing, karts onto the circuit for Mini Swift, presented by Speed Concepts Racing. Win Godshock and Jaden Francisco, your front row for the SCR Mini Swift division. Lawrence Perriman, Cameron Johnson make up row number 2, Justin.
Row number 3, Maxwell Mancha. Then it's Paxton Romero in 6th spot. Enzo Giganero starts off in 7th. Simon Klein will start in 8th. Then it's Mario Nario will start in 9th. Rounding out the top 10, Alex Chandler, who put up some solid speed in the last race. We'll see how the 196 does here amongst the top 10 here, Xander.
Yeah, moving on back, then you have Connor Lipka in 11th, Eric Wojciechowski in 12th, Zane Burgess and Bernardo Goubert for a pair of Sodis back on row number 7. And as we take a look back down the board for the final few starters, with 29 in total that have made up the list, 28 will make up the field here for the Mini Swift main. And the lights are out. The green flag's waving from Buckley. We're green, down to 1.
Not a great launch from Francisco. Already getting passed by several drivers in a spin. Heart of the field. One driver around in turn 2. Off on the side of the racetrack. That's the 119 that spun around the one wrong way around. That was Wojciechowski going the wrong way from 11th starting spot. The rest of the field makes its way through. Already Perriman lining things up for the race lead. Trying to set up a diamond line to get around Gottschalk.
Yeah, great getaway for win. Terrible start for Jaden Francisco from the outside of the front row. He slots into 4th there behind Cameron Johnson. But so far, so good otherwise here as the field rockets around turn number 11 and up and over the hill. Side by side for the 6th position. No, DeGennaro able to hold that with the momentum over Paxton Romero. And look at that late send. Trying to get his elbows out. Maxwell Macha on the 174 getting after it here. Not quite going to be able to pull off the move, though. He fades back to 4th.
Able to get back lined up for now as they build up the run yet again. Macha looking for the Macho run. Trying to go to the inside. Didn't work. Meanwhile, some of the others in the Benix still battling Cody Romero. Inside line, Francisco able to jump his way to 2nd. Able to slip on by, no issue. And that's the thing Francisco showcased throughout the day. He has the resilience to be able to fight back and bounce back, race to race, situation to situation, to be able to find his way back up to the point. Now the question will be for someone like DeGennaro, are they going to be able to get themselves in position to score some big-time points here? Mind you, Francisco took the edge coming into today as a result of yesterday's performance with the 190 machine.
Yeah, Jaden Francisco making up for the heartbreaker at Texas with an opportunity to really tip the scales in his favor as Enzo DeGennaro's had a weekend a little bit less than that from his opener at the Winter Nationals. You can see the radar still clean for now and staying kind of on the southwest side down in Kentucky and a crossover in Indiana. But for Jaden Francisco, he's not focused on the skies at all. He's focused on the lead, and so is Maxwell Macha with a quick move to take the Paralin up to 2nd. Following suit. Win wants that spot back, though. He'll take it in turn 4.
And our crossover once again. Gottschalk continues to fight, trying to control his own methods, but this allowed Francisco to run away. This is almost similar to what we've seen in Micro Swift in terms of the gap so far on the racetrack. But how long will the gap last? Especially with everyone else lined up in a draft train, 5 carts deep. If you go bumper to bumper, if you go in terms of loosely connected, it's more so 10 carts that are all together, all in this draft pack, trying to build up speed and maintain momentum to get back up to Francisco.
Take a look at Enzo there with a nice move on his teammate to get around Johnson. Moves him back up into the 6th position. Perriman still in the top 5. Great start for Zane Burgess again, by the way. Moving up and into the 4th spot on the Speed Concepts Racing Sodi. He'll get closer to the lead, as will everybody else with that move. Win Gottschalk back to command in the 125. Down to turn number 4. Macha still there. Side by side for Burgess and Perriman back and forth. Ending up back to where they crossed the timing loop. Burgess in front, and right as they were about to again make the gain off the pass for the lead, they're back to a 3-car length gap. But look at this pack here. You can mark it all the way back at Bernardo Gubert's Velocity Racing Sodi, 11 strong at the open-air stage of the main still. How long before it maybe splits apart a little and splinters? We're watching Connor Lipka there, Alex Chandler further back in 12th and 13th, trading it up. DeGennaro going around Cameron Johnson and Lawrence Perriman. So Enzo now up another one, trying to salvage the championship with a good day Sunday. And Francisco, the points leader, shuffled back to 3rd, now back to 4th as Burgess goes by.
But a slip by, no issue. Burgess so far has looked pretty solid here this round after what happened yesterday. Yet again, see the yellow and white machine continue to slice and dice on forward. And mind you, Burgess with yesterday with the drop factored in, currently 8th in the point standings, needs a great finish here in this race, needs to be up at least on the podium to get back in the conversation for the championship. Already almost 500 points back, Francisco coming in, and that there's so much pressure for the championship if you're able to perform to be able to set things up for when you get to the month of July.
Yeah, so much, right? You need to be able to give yourself as much room for error because you just never know. The Summer Nationals, the season finale, Newcastle Motorsports Park in America's heartland. It is such a massive turnout year after year for the SKUSA Pro Tour. This grid of 30 could all of a sudden blossom to 45 like the KA classes. Again, missing the holiday weekend and the like. And you just want to have as many points stacked up before you go to the final 2 rounds as possible. So that's why Aston Wyatt here, leading that midfield train, is doing everything he can to get up to the leaders before they scoot away, having now gone around Bernardo Goubert and gotten himself into 9th.
Yeah, now slip around once again in the pack to make some passes, and I think that pack starting to make some splinters as a result of some of the battling back and forth at the wrong times for some of the drivers. Remember, the more side-by-side you go, the more time you potentially lose. Now De Janeiro amongst those, trying to work here in that splinter pack. Perriman also in the group. Perriman says, I'd rather be the leader of this group, thank you very much. Makes the pass, sets up a crossover attempt, and just wasn't able to close on by. And as De Janeiro says, what are we doing? We need to close up. You just cost us another 3 kart lanes with that pass.
Yeah, Enzo, that time now finds himself 1.8 seconds from the lead, but more importantly, 1.1 back from 4th, outside of the drafting window. He needs the duos up front to shuffle, and I don't think they will. Zane Burgess and Jaden Francisco are focused on getting back to the top 2, and to Maxwell Macha's credit, having clawed his way towards the lead, he's pushing Win Godshock with everything that he's got right now to keep it at just those 2 when we punch in on frame. This time by, it'll be 7 laps complete, 11 laps to go from Cincinnati. Look at that big gaggle here behind Aston Wyatt trying to eat into the margin of the leaders. Last time by, 3.7 seconds away. Lap time-wise, not terribly far off, but not quite at the pace they need to be to close the gaps back up.
Yeah, not quite, but if they start to cooperate and start to work together a little bit, they can start closing. It takes a couple laps to do so, realistically, but it is possible. Godshock, meanwhile, just looking very comfortable. Macha having a macho run. He is also amongst the drivers' top 5 of the points coming into today's round. As there's some swapping once again. Yet again, Johnson getting past for a move as they continue to see more and more changes in this pack, and that's going to cost the others more and more time as these packs now really truly splinter.
Yeah, this will be quite a bit of changing and movement here in this main event. Maxwell Macha to the lead, and Zane Burgess trying to follow his former teammate through. He will get the job done eventually there by the end of 13. And now with 8 down, 10 to go, Maxwell leads the way in the 174. Godshock back as far as he's been so far in the main, P3. Francisco 4th. Did that change anything back? No. Enzo De Janeiro still 1.8 seconds away.
Yeah, they're just not closing up. They're not chipping away. There's no one pushing De Janeiro. And it's pretty clear that Perriman doesn't want to really work with him based on what we've seen with some of the battling back and forth with Perriman trying to bounce, going for some layup of moves. But this is going to be important. If there's some sparring going on for this 1st through 4th group, that's going to push them right back into the clutches of the 190 and company. A little bit of sparring that time previously by Godshock on Burgess and company. Francisco still holding on as part of the middle group with Burgess at the back. It's going to take a lot of work to get fully closed up at this rate by those drivers. They need to close up. Wrapping them out. There's the squabbling that they need. Starting to see some side-by-side. Another move once again to the inside, Burgess. And back to single file.
At the line, halfway in, halfway home. Win Godshock, your leader. Francisco with a big run towards him. Let's see if he wants to capitalize in one. Obviously, Godshock feared it, so he covered off the inside, and just like that, one more maneuver, and Enzo De Janeiro will be there. Lawrence Perriman not far behind. Gottschalk all the way by the grass. Macha trying to go around the high side. Francisco open in the hands. He'll keep himself in second. Now Burgess nowhere to go. He'll tuck back in. Still fourth. Sends it down the inside of Macha. He'll get third.
And there's that gap we talked about. If there's a lot of battling, they can close up. They just closed up near a second plus as a result of that battling back and forth. And De Janeiro able to jump cards at the very least as a result. Macha going the wrong way. Some defensive maneuvers. Meanwhile, off the road, Gottschalk and Francisco. Francisco got blocked off to the inside. Burgess takes advantage of the shallow line and lack of run built up from that defensive line to be able to make another pass here. Still back and forth we go, already past halfway.
Still all clear when it comes down to anyone losing out or having too much contact, but it's starting to get a bit racy up at the front now in the latter half of this race. Macha side by side with Perriman, no dice there. De Janeiro versus Burgess down to 4. He'll cover off. Perriman the same. Look in the background. Aston Wyatt rolled from 15th on the grid. He's up 8 spots already and digging now as he and Cameron Johnson join the fray. And along with them, going to the front, Mauro Norio and his Team Benek debut up to 9th here at the back of the pack.
Mario's debut looking very solid right now in terms of this. Yes, absolutely. He's been a top 10 driver basically throughout the entire weekend. Perriman, a hardy cut to the inside, a bit of a swerve attempt by Macha trying to block it off, couldn't keep it to the inside. And Perriman able to take advantage and also brings 121. Oh, contact! Perriman has the 121 of Wyatt hit the back end of him, and that lifted both of them up the ground, cost the whole pack some time, and the top 4 have now taken off with that contact, checking everybody up in the second group.
Oh man, what a run there now. What a split in the pack. Look how much the gap opened. Nearly 2 full seconds back to Aston Wyatt's crew. Macha back at the helm of it. There's Bernardo Goubert. Lawrence Perriman could see the leaders. He could almost reach out and grab them with his hand, but now way back here with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, now this is going to be extremely difficult. 2 karts in the grass, the 188 and the 155. Both fall each other off into the grass. That included Paxton Romero and Connor Lipka as a result of that one. And now the signals are starting to come out. Teamwork makes the dream work. Even if you aren't teammates at this point, you have to do something. Perriman, he just wants to battle. But a lot of these other drivers need to get a move on, and very quickly if they want to close up a deficit of 2 seconds from last time by, this time by. That deficit equalizes itself to about the same. In fact, they lost 3/10.
Not ideal at all for these drivers here, as still looking strong are the likes again of the top 4 pace-wise. 102.62 for Win Gottschalk. 102 6s and 7s further back. Burgess at a 5.9. That's about as fast as anyone's run all race. And Jaden Francisco, while he was aggressive to get up into the lead pack, and Win Gottschalk has been aggressive to keep the lead, neither one of them have really strayed in the last bit, and that has kept the margin since the pack splitting up. And that's why I imagine Win Gottschalk was so adamant to try and hold that top spot. Why Jaden Francisco wanted to get up as high as he could, as early as he could. De Janeiro the same, Burgess the same. That bit of aggression early paying off compared to some of the other drivers with equal pace, but getting shuffled back. And now with just 5 laps to go, they need a lot to happen to bring them into the conversation for a podium again.
They need a ton to happen at this point. They need the whole top 4 to go side by side for about half a sector or half a track at this point to really slow them on down enough to be back within chopping distance. That's not likely to happen for too long. But if they get some squabbling, there is still the opportunity. Francisco seems to be trying to build up a run right now. See what he can do. Right now, no place to take the run as Gottschalk maintains in front. Francisco looks for a place to poke. Likes to ride out as they drift to the outside. Go for a hardy cut to be able to make the way through the tight confines of 13 and 14. all single file. No one willing to make a move quite yet after all the battling earlier on.
Yeah, this has just turned back into a waiting game once again, probably until we see the double sticks, or if one of the four decides it's go time a little bit early. A moment like that might trigger it. Godshock with a little bit of a sidestep in the middle of the corner. They all kind of buckled up into him, but nobody bailing out of line. All still staying on the mission. Break away. Make as few drivers as possible have a shot at the win, and your odds obviously get a whole lot better.
Extremely better. It's easier to have confidence in the moves when you know there's only the potential of losing a spot or two, compared to if I make this move, I might lose all 20 spots on the track or something along those lines. I know that's an exaggeration, but it kind of is that same realm of presence. A lot of these other drivers further on back have nothing to lose. They know that the gap is fairly distant. It's about trying to score points at this rate and try and finish higher up in the running order for a lot of these other drivers that are further on outside the main pack, that are not closing up like they need to be able to get back in the conversation. And that's going to be the main thing. Will these battles continue on for a lot of these competitors? When will be the green light for the main pack with under 3 laps to go to spar it out?
Yeah, what will be the signal? I have a feeling it's going to be the double sticks, but at that same point here, Justin, for the first time in a moment, Jaden Francisco's gap out front to out back has started to become a bit unbalanced. He's right on the tail of Win Godshock. He's got a little bit of an opening out back to DeGennaro. It's not a lot, but is it enough for Jaden to either get the signal from the RPM crew on the fence line, or for him to make the decision on his own to say, you know what, I can wait one more lap? Or, well, now with Preston Buckley queuing up the white and the checker, signaling 2 laps to go, be the moment that they all decide to break out of formation and begin to dance. Nothing through 1. Godshock low off the bat to 2. Francisco left the door open. Here comes DeGennaro and Zane Burgess on by.
Francisco lifted. It looked like a bit of underspeed to try and make sure he didn't hit the back, and a Godshock on the defensive move. Burgess looked to peel his way around DeGennaro. DeGennaro stays on the line. Now looks to close up that extra kart lane to get around Godshock. Less than a lap and a half to work with here in the 190. This is the best shot he's had all weekend to take a race lead, and looks to try and see, can he find some points to be able to clutch his way back towards that championship lead. The problem is Burgess sees a door, and Francisco just took the point swing back with him with the move as well.
That one move right there all of a sudden then shuffles everything again. And all of this, by the way, provisional calculations on our end, folks, for those watching and listening along, and before the drops get factored. But with 3 rounds run, 1 lap remains in round number 4. Win Godshock again, parking it down low in the run to turn number 2. Burgess following along. Best shot he's had so far at the lead. Let's see if he can take the yellow and black SCR Sodi to the front. Not quite yet, still no opportunity, and he kind of bogged it down coming out of turn number 5. So he'll have to protect again in 6 and 7. How much longer can you back him up before you realize that when Godshock is a bit too far up the road, it might be too late already?
Yeah, this is a big cushion to try and close all of a sudden. Burgess lost a lot of ground, and now this is the problem. You're not going to be able to draft up that much in 1 lap. Burgess defending more for second at this point than he is battling for the lead. DeGennaro trying to take it outside.
He doesn't quite have the momentum. Francisco now on the outside for the last turn. DeGennaro will get the inside. Francisco with an over-under. But it will be all about the win for Win Godshock as he heads to the line with nobody near. He wins round 4. Burgess by a nose hangs on over Jaden Francisco. Enzo DeGennaro, the over-under move, just barely losing out there at the line for 4th. For the Paralyn driver, Maxwell Macha puts 2 of the red and white machines inside the top 5. Aston Wyatt ends in 6th. Cameron Johnson, Lawrence Perriman, Mauro Nario, Bernardo Goubert completing the top 10. As we take a look down the rest of the order, A bit of contact, obviously, earlier on and up and down in a very chaotic main for Connor Lipka. Alex Chandler ends up 11th. Simon Jack Klein there 12th. Asher Pavon in 14th. Paxton Romero 15th. And down to Santiago Orioli, Arthur Kelly. No starts for them. Only one DNF. Unfortunately, Axel Garcia ends up as the odd driver out with an exit early, stage left on lap number 6. But Charlie Marin, Eric Wojciechowski, George Zeminski, some moments for them. 24th, 25th, 26th, and onwards. Mini Swift to a close, and you can hear it in the background. Pro X30 engines are fired. The last main event on the day, and we're ready to bring it all your way here. Let's kick things off with a fantastic performance in the pre-final by many drivers who we didn't talk about yesterday. There are so many storylines in this headline class. No better way to bookend an afternoon that has seen nothing short of activity here from the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Overcast skies, but don't let that fool you again. It is phenomenal racing action on tap here for the Pro X30 category. Paulie Massimino with an outside shot at the lead and the race win by starting on the outside of the front row. But Gus Lawrence looking for redemption after Saturday. Dominated the pre-final, dominated the first 3 quarters of the main event. But by the time the final few laps rolled around, he just didn't quite have enough to be able to stay in the fight. He faded to 4th and watched as Austin Garrison and Ryan Norberg duked it out for the win, coming down to a drag race at the line. 0.02 of a second between the pair. Those two do not start on the front row. Garrison back in 3rd, Isambard 4th, and Norberg all the way back in 8th. Alex, Caleb, for the final time pre-race, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Xander. I spoke to Austin Garrison here on the grid. He said they made some changes on the front end to try to adjust with the cooling temperatures. Alex?
Thank you, Caleb. Yeah, I spoke to Ryan Norberg, asked him, what happened in that pre-final. He said, listen, yeah, the start was not my best, but I just wasn't aggressive enough. So expect a little more aggression out of Ryan Norberg this race.
Without a doubt, you're going to need it. There are too many fast guns looking to try and get themselves to the top step of the podium. But even still, the only 2 winners on the year have been the 2 Florida natives, AG and Flying Ryan, as they begin to make their way out to the tram lines. Can Gus Lawrence close out his only other confirmed U.S. start as of now with a race win from the pole? Can Paulie Massimino break through and get a Pro X30 main event win to cap off a banner weekend so far for BJR? Pro X30 round 4 is underway down to turn number 1. Oh, and way off for Massimino. Big time moment for the number 5. All the way into the grass right off the bat, and he'll drop way outside of the window. Lawrence, Garrison, and then Ruben Moya into 3rd.
A disastrous start, a disastrous one for Massimino as a result of that off track, and now he's all the way back past the 20s in a disastrous beginning to the run for the number 5. Some battle in the back, but Lawrence trying to do one thing, win and be able to prove he can win here in the U.S. We've seen him fall off before yesterday. Now it's the matter of seeing how today goes for that field. Norberg yet again did not get a good fire off, as touched upon, had made some adjustments, and right now those adjustments seen him the wrong direction right now in this race.
Yeah, Ty Fisher with a great start here on the TB kart. He's rolled all the way up into 5th. Jake Drew with a nice turnaround here as the outside lane was good. Besides Paulie, the inside lane actually kind of got burned more so. It's Austin Garrison still, though, nipping at the heels of Gus Lawrence in the early stages. Vasquez Jr., and there is Flying Ryan getting a bumper full of Alan Isambard through turns 4 and 5. My goodness, is it hairy back here. Caden McQueen, Diego Ramos trapped around the Rocket Racing Company driver as Isambard is just trying to buy himself some real estate to go to work. Yesterday's top qualifier ended up fading back in the pre-final, and we never really got to see much of him until the last few laps of the main event, and he continues to try and hold position right now as you saw Ramos show the nose Isambard slammed the door shut, and all of that in just a lap elongates the margin for Norberg to make up, and it'll be even tougher for Ramos now as he has to try and find a way past.
Yeah, easier said than done to be able to make a pass. And I was about to say, for Isambard, it's been a complete inverse where we haven't talked too much about him from the qualifying. But today in the races has been able to power his way ahead 4 moves. 2 karts with some issues. That includes the 64 machine.
Blake Nash, Colin Lloyd colliding down at turn number 2. They were fighting for the 17th spot. And a big moment for both of them at the outside edge of that middle hairpin. We'll see if we can get another look at it as to what transpired between the pair. Meanwhile, we saw Diego Ramos be able to get by. Isambard is a big off there for Aiden Ingrata. The 55 going wide up the hill. And potentially an unforced error for the former Canadian national champ and already a winner here in the States this year. Ingrata, from what was a great weekend in Texas to now on the struggle bus. And Jake Drew, this is the opportunity he was hoping he would get to see. He has had such a storied career to this point. The ARCA Menard Series West champion, the one of the best talents out of the West in the last decade. And now linking up with a full season ride here with GFC Karting and Formula Works. Although the opening laps here haven't been too kind to his speed, and neither has it been for Vasquez Jr. Both of them coming under pressure here. Ty Fisher with a big run. Can the rookie make a move inside? And got him. P4 for Fisher now through turn number 12. Alex, what do you have for us down on pit lane?
Thank you, Xander. I just want to touch on what you mentioned with Ty Fisher. I mean, the fastest driver on the racetrack in the top 5 last time by was the TB machine. He actually found me on the grid, came up to me, and he said, listen, this TB machine in the cold weather is rapid. So that's explaining why he's so fast right now.
He is loving these conditions, but so is Gus Lawrence. The United Kingdom driver is still holding a healthy gap back to Austin Garrison in a very similar story from yesterday. Will it hold? In the pre-final, he looked like he might have almost overshot the reaction to yesterday, peaking too early in the race, and it seemed like he struggled to get to a comfortable level before the midway point. After that, of course, he was lights out for the final few laps. Right now, he's got the margin. He's managing the gap well, and his teammate, who was the first one pushing him along and the first one to go by yesterday, Ryan Norberg, is still buried back in 7th, 2.5 seconds away.
Yeah, Lawrence trying to do everything he can to build up a cushion right now, but we know Austin Garrison is very much so fast to be able to close up, is very dedicated in terms of his focus to be able to try and close up gaps like this. We know Garrison going to want some vengeance from yesterday with how close things got for that race win with Norberg in the very end. So we'll have to see if he's going to be able to keep up on the draft and be able to set things up long run as Lawrence's tires really start to come into play. Remember, these tires have that window where it's going to fall off a little bit. These temperatures for these tires can go up pretty quickly for this compound for the pro classes.
Again, though, the one saving grace, as mentioned by Alex, there is the cooler temperatures, the cooler conditions. That might help keep the tires a bit lower and more in that nice window and be maybe a bit more forgiving. You see Ryan Norberg now really struggling to make every move stick. We saw Alan Isambard slam the door shut on the champ. Vasquez Jr. did it right here a lap ago for 5th. And now while Ryan's got through that, he still is 2.5 seconds away, but a full lap lost on the charge forward. He was the fastest the last few laps outside of the number 37 machine of Ty Fisher. So maybe he'll be able to get forward, but he needs someone to hopefully get up and challenge his teammate because Gus Lawrence is starting to pull out the gap on Austin Garrison. Let's see what happens here for 3rd. Ty Fisher. A little mistake there. Ruben Moya pointing. And is that a point to let him go on by or a point more? Yes. Ruben Moya, a very patient and veteran maneuver there. Ruben broke onto the scene here in the U.S. with his first ever race here, heat number 1 at the Super Nationals, having a ton of aggression, defending lap after qualifying on the pole. And it's been really, really interesting to watch him come under the tutelage of the experience of Greg Welch and the entire FDM crew to try and understand what is the best way to play out the racing here. The drivers here, the culture's different, the dynamics different, the tracks are different. And realizing how much time you lose, as he mentioned, especially on a narrow racetrack like a lot of our circuits are in comparison to some of the European circuits you'd be more familiar with, you lose so much more time with fighting a pass that it's almost worth it to, at this point in the race, say, hey, if you can go up and bring him back to me, I'll give you a chance. And right now, Ty Fisher has that opportunity. Can he do it? 1.4 seconds back from Lawrence, 0.8 back from Garrison, 8 laps in the books here. Garrison closing back up by a couple of hundredths, and Ryan Norberg flat flying, 0.4 faster than his teammate up in the lead. He's already onto the bumper of Moya.
Norberg able to find some good speed here. We know Norberg has the presence to be able to power his way through situations like this. We've seen him be a champion multiple times over in different levels when it comes to the karting scene. And he's able to close up a fair bit once again on Moya on the corner entry. Right now it's just a matter of keeping up on the exit to be able to find a way to make the pass. He's good on the draft as well down the straightaways. So Norberg is really dialed in. Whatever they made adjustment-wise seems to be working now all of a sudden in that Kart. As there goes another swap, a bit of contact. Fisher with Norberg, able to hold on to it as Fisher loses the spot to Moya.
Ruben Moya gave Ty a chance, but Ty couldn't close the gap up. So now Moya said, all right, you had your shot. I'm going back around. It cost them a couple tenths of a second, but again, this is where Ty, as the rookie amongst two wily veterans here, needs to keep his head on his shoulders because Ryan is gearing up to go. And while he didn't quite have the momentum to make it happen down in turns 4 and 5, maybe it'll be something towards later on in the lap. Here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. By the way, battle looming for 6th also. Diego Ramos has caught up to Jesus Vasquez Jr. So the PSL Beer Alert is beginning to hit his stride, and you can see the difference in line, knowing how to follow there for the pair. Now, Fisher, even in the wake of Moya, was able to take the wider arc, but I think still, yeah, he left the door open way too wide for Ryan to just let him stay there. He goes by. Norberg up to 4th, and the gap to Lawrence. It's still well within reach, but again, if you're Gus Lawrence, what you can take away from yesterday is go, all right, how easy can I go? I don't need to push the limits right now, knowing that you've got plenty of a gap back to Garrison. Just keep it even. Keep checking the margin, looking around, and trying to see, all right, if I can start to back up my corner entry, be easier on the front tires, maybe lower the minimum speed a little bit or wait to put the power down. Ryan Norberg can't afford to do that. He has to go up and catch him. Garrison, he's got to keep him within sights, and he can't just bank on a guy at the level of Gus Lawrence to have the same story happen. Lawrence will undoubtedly have spent all the time to try and rectify the misses from yesterday, and he knows as well that his teammate at some point is going to be a factor. Ryan Norberg on the verge now of Ruben Moya as we put 10 laps, mark at 11 completed. Norberg, his charge continues. Let's see if he tries to pull the pin. Is he close enough down at turn number 2 on the bumper of Moya? Not quite confident enough. In fact, Moya a little bit narrow on the entry there.
Had a feeling of that block, I think, and now Moya. There's the pin, there's the drop, there's the pass, and yet again, Norberg making it look simple and easy. That passing opportunity through turn 4 has been very much used by a lot of drivers here today because it allows you to just get that peel back without losing too much time yourself from that inside groove to then clear on by quickly because of the way that part of the hairpins work here at this racetrack. Norberg needs to find a way to keep on getting up on that horse, though, to close on up now to get to Garrison. It's an error 1 second up the road to get up to the 6th.
We've seen this story before, though. Ryan Norberg, when it comes down to charging through the field, he has the faith in his equipment. He and Austin Garrison have had plenty of laps head-to-head to try and really gauge each other. He might be able to really start to move some hay not long from now. An update on Paulie Massimino. You saw him flicker by there. He's rebounded back up to 14th. And the rough go to start this main. What a day. It had so much promise for a guy who's normally about as straight-faced and mean-mugged as you can find him. He was all smiles after that KA senior main, but he has had his work cut out for him here in Pro X30. Still 9.5 seconds back, but he can salvage a day. And there's one move that'll help. Getting by Donovan Bonilla, that'll move him another spot up. Mark Massimino now, 13th. Next on the chopping block, Finn Bailiff, about 1.8 seconds up the road.
Yeah, right now, Massimino, a great recovery drive on his momentum. And right now, Norberg back on the prowl, looking at the stopwatch. Last time by, closed up about 1/10 of a second. Still needs to get up another 9/10 though to get up to Garrison as the laps turn. He's trying to get aerodynamic, try and keep himself low down some of these straightaways I'm noticing to try and find a way to get up there. But Lawrence, he's done fantastic this race. Whatever happened to yesterday adjustment-wise, they've been able to find exactly what he needs for today to not have that fall off, to not slide the rears, to not be in an error issue where he had mistakes built up with Norberg on his rear end, and that spilled over with he got to dirty air. Today, Lawrence has been much more composed now that he's been able to be comfortable up at the front and be able to maintain a cushion.
Ty Fisher might be just a bit too good too early in the run. Such a great start here for the number 37, but he's now under pressure for the 5th spot. That Brielle art of Diego Ramos is still hauling the mail right now, all over the bumper of Fisher. Not quite going to send it down in turn 2, but he was all over him there. Kind of bogged his exit. He'll be able to get up to Fisher here in a moment and maybe make something happen in a corner or so for the 5th spot. Jesus Vasquez Jr. still riding along back there in 7th. Alan Isambard 8th. Caden McQueen, he's gone by Chase Hand for the 9th position. And Jake Drew, off that great start, has faded backwards all the way down to 12th behind Finnegan Bailiff, as there was a big send and a half for Ty Fisher, all over the place trying to find a little more speed and continue to push. And Ramos is going to take advantage. He'll slip on by down the inside in 12.
Yeah, just hit a little bit of the curbing that nearly launched him over, but able to keep stability once he landed on the ground. They still have 5 more laps to go, and Fisher's tires seem to have gone off the cliff. As a result, last adjustments being made right now. Ramos really letting the air into the radiator to try and let things cool off right now in the 3 machine as he tries to push forward to find a way to get up to Moyo and Norberg to be able to join that battle. Speaking of Norberg, he's hit a plateau. Like what we're seeing with Gus Lawrence and Austin Garrison, he's hit a plateau with Garrison and Norberg.
Yeah, I was going to say, Justin, earlier on, just a couple laps ago, you could see how much Ryan Norberg was pushing. He was really leaning on the buildup of rubber in this infield hairpin, especially tossing the cart in, leaning on it. And I was going to say that he normally has been able to manage low pressure by judging the grip level to perfection and running lower air, but still finding the grip in the center of the corner to throw it in deep, then quickly pivot the cart and get out of it. And then when the cart would come to him, he would be a rocket ship. But unfortunately for Ryan, this last bit of the race here hasn't been super kind. Here's Chase Gassiet Lee on the K1 race gear on board, trailing Bonilla. A weekend that has had him pretty far back, rolled off from 14th. He's 16th currently, trying to charge into the top 15 with Bonilla up the road along with Aiden Ingrata on that Coastal Link custom printing Nash Motorsports entry. 4 to go. Norberg that time ripped nearly 2/10 better than Gus Lawrence. He just, again, had to fight through the field. He said he had to be more aggressive in the pre-final, and he wasn't. And he's paying the price now. He's the fastest car on the racetrack. He has the speed to win. But even in the beginning of this main, no love from Isambard, no love from Jesus Vasquez Jr. And he's since pulled away from them and gotten himself into a good points position. But third, maybe all she wrote, because Gus Lawrence is not showing any signs of slowing down. And that time by, another great lap for Gus in the 58. A 55.529. He pulled another 10th away from Garrison. 2.5 laps remaining. Can he close this one out? We don't know when we'll see him again, but he wants us to know that he's going to leave a mark. And what a mark it would be over the 2 drivers, the only 2 that have won Pro X30 events here so far in 2025, besides his fellow countryman in Joe Turney. It's been dominance for Austin Garrison and Ryan Norberg. They've been the class of the field. They're charging towards Lawrence still. Norberg now getting a sniff of the draft off the back of Garrison. Might be able to challenge him for second, and that would really be an impactful maneuver because it would not only put Norberg back in a good point stay on the day, but it would hurt Austin Garrison's overall total. 2 to go, and that's where the action may lie. It may also end up back for fourth. Ramos is closing in on Ruben Moya, 2.5 tenths away for P4. So second and third are close. Ramos is right there now on Moya as they go down through turns 4 and 5. And Garrison's number 6, now outside the draft of Lawrence, is going to be quickly eaten up by the number 1 in Norberg.
Yeah, Norberg's now within drafting distance to at least battle for second step of the podium. Try and make it a team 1-2 if he can. And that's going to be a big accomplishment for RPG here today if they can secure that. All while Ramos, looking inside, got a little bit too deep. Had to back it off to avoid contact with Moya. Moya holding on for now as they work their way through the corners, coming up to the white flag this time by.
Little mistake there out of Diego cost him the run onto the straightaway. He'll have to spend the rest of the lap closing on in. These two are ready to duke it out again, but this time it won't be for the win. Gus Lawrence well up the road. Austin Garrison versus Ryan Norberg for P2 today. Garrison knows he's there. He's going to start kind of covering off the inside down in 4 and 5. And down to the infield for the final time here, Justin.
Final chances here. Norberg takes a peek to the outside. Tries to get a diamond cut. Now goes back in line, setting things up back for 11. We've seen many drivers go for an underspeed to block coming out of the corner. This time Garrison gets it timed up right. Norberg tries it from the outside. Now looks for a peek down through 12. Tries to get the peel down as Garrison goes for the block.
Nothing quite there. Final time. They'll drag race again to the line, but out front, we don't know when he'll be back, but he is going to make the most of the opportunity. Gus Lawrence wins round 4 of the SKUSA Pro Tour. And to the line, Garrison, by 5 thousandths of a second, hangs on over Ryan Norberg for P2. Norberg third at the line. Moya hangs on over Diego Ramos. Ty Fisher with another impressive result. Highest finishing rookie amongst a very competitive and stacked top 10. Alan Isambard ends up 8th there, just behind Jesus Vasquez Jr. Caden McQueen in 9th. Chase Hand rounding out the top 10. And here's a final look at the results and the run order. Gus Lawrence, victorious. Oh, so close in his first 2 tries. And the driver who led the most laps in the mains all weekend gets to end it with a flag-to-flag performance on Sunday. Perfection for the number 58. We'll be getting ready to head down to pit lane to talk with him. Paulie Massimino, great recovery, back up to 12th. And further back here as we check there, Gassiet Lee able to end 16th. Remo Ruschetti in 17th. From the back of the grid, Archer Eversman 33rd up to 21st. And that'll do it for Pro X30.
Step in here with Gus. It definitely wasn't easy, Gus. You had to try for this, 3 times. 3rd time's the charm. Talk to me about your first race win in the States.
Yeah, so I literally based everything today on the mistakes I made yesterday. And yeah, I'm over the moon with the result. Gives lights to flag. Yeah, extremely happy.
Who would you like to thank for this victory? The travel over here, I know it's definitely been tough on you, but has it all been worth it?
Oh, amazing. Yeah, to win for the first time here in the States, unbelievable. And then what a great track as well. Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to RPG, Mike, Alex, everyone involved, Joni, my mechanic. Amazing.
What's better, the win or the payday?
Both.
Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Had a good time?
I saw you didn't look maybe the happiest of campers with Garrison there out of turn number 1 after the checker flag. Is there anything behind that?
No, I mean, like, he's doing what he has to do. I mean, I had the run on him. Yeah, he just, he had to stop the run, and so the only way to do that was to make contact. But, yeah, I mean, we're here. We're doing our job, so it's not going to be anything that, I don't take it personally. I mean, we all have a job to do out here, so you got to get it done as best as you can. So hopefully the stewards can help out on this one because it just, I don't know. I mean, I was there. I had to run. I timed it. So it's yeah. But hats off to Gus, man. Led wire to wire. Good job. Cameraman, you're about to get hit. But yeah, man, great job for the team. They really showed out.
We spoke before the race. You said, listen, I got to be more aggressive to go out there and win this main event. Do you feel like you kind of maximized the result today?
Kind of. I mean, I obviously let it down in the pre-final there. We had speed, obviously, in the final. I mean, I was going really quick there. Had a couple passes there where, I got to the inside of somebody and people were following me through and just hitting me through. And, I mean, I was completely sideways in the middle of the corner, so that, cost us a ton of time. But, I mean, that's my fault in the end because I was in the back, so that's what you get for being back there, But, yeah, I mean, overall it's not bad from where we were.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, man.
There you have it again for your top two finishers. Top three finishers. Ryan Norberg, third at the time the dust settled in a 0.005 of a second margin. Another photo finish for himself and Austin Garrison. He wins out on the fight yesterday, loses out just by inches here today. And, the other side of that battle, he wins the drag race at the line. It's P2 for Austin Garrison, Caleb.
Yeah, Xander, we heard from Ryan there from his side. Talk about that last lap in between you and him.
Yeah, no, I just kind of same thing as yesterday, blocking, do what I can to go and stay up front. I knew he was going to go and do the same move as yesterday, so middle of the straightaway, I just kind of opened up my hands because last time he went to the right, and then I went to the left, and, we bumped a little bit on the straightaway, and it was nothing personal. We're just trying to finish the best we possibly can.
Talk about the points haul as well this weekend. Couldn't capitalize on a race win, but, thinking championship heading into Indiana, how would you say, this weekend went for you?
That this weekend went great. We had bad luck in the past being here. We got really good points leading into the final two rounds. We didn't have the pace to go and win, but Gus is just on fire all day today. Qualified on pole, won the pre-final, won the main. He did a great job staying up in front, but we just didn't have the pace to go and catch him.
Thank you, Austin.
Thanks.
Austin Garrison today, P2. Again, all that he had to try and stay with the top contenders on the day. And, it's still a good, consistent run. And if it were last season where there were no drops for the Pro X30 class, things would be a little bit different. But 5 for 6 getting the double mains back, I believe, might tip the needle or tip the scales a bit towards the number one. Alex.
Thank you, Xander. Down here at Ty Fisher. Ty, you kind of approached me before the race. You said, listen, the TB is going to be fast in the cold. It looked really good early on. Do you feel like maybe too high on pressures in this one?
Yeah, definitely a bit too high on tire pressure. But the beginning it was flying. We were purple. And I had a feeling we could catch the leaders if it stayed like that. But halfway through the race, I just saw it slowly starting to fall off. And then at the end, I just kept falling back.
I know you're busy with your car schedule, but it's always good to see you back at the kart track. I mean, how consistent do you think this is going to be for you?
I feel like I'm going to do a few more races. I definitely want to. It's really fun coming back to the karting community. But the car stuff, it's been really well. All my friends are cheering me on. It told me to make the race interesting, so drove as fast as I could.
Thanks, Ty.
Thank you, Alex.
There you have it from Ty Fisher and TB Kart USA, fourth and third and second and up and down the leaderboard for a good chunk of that race. Obviously, the pace kind of fell off towards the end, but still highest rookie with a P6 at the line. Overall, solid efforts here for the Green Machine crew. Let's go back down here. Paulie Massimino. Oh, man, what a promising day it was right up until this point, right up until the race got going. Let's head back to hear from him.
Thank you, Xander. I think he said it best, right, Paulie? Talk about that opening corner for you.
Yeah, I got blown off the track.
The pace was good. Do you take anything positive out of this weekend?
Yeah, the pace is really good. The whole BGR crew, my mechanic, Perez, my dad, everyone over there, the BBS package was really, really fast. I don't know. Kart felt really good out there. Felt like I was decently fast. Once I got blown off the track, I was, in the back. blocking for 35th. So once I finally got back by all those guys, I started working my way through the field. And, Kart was really fast, but, get blown off the track, so nothing to show for it.
Thank you, Paulie.
Obviously, a very frustrated Paulie Massimino. Can't blame him for the raw emotion there, Justin. Nothing hurts more than putting yourself in the best spot that you've had to fight for a race win, and having it all go up in smoke, or really, I guess, dirt and dust and debris there in the grass and one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a tough break to have that happen on the opening lap to push him right to the back of the field, but overall, a thrilling day when it comes to the racing from the get-go. Several drag races, and in particular when it comes to Pro X30, a big day for Gus Lawrence, able to get the win, able to rectify things after what happened last week, or last time out, I should say, yesterday.
It's unfortunate. We've had such a beautiful weekend, at least on camera here for us. Yesterday, great conditions this morning. The sun shining over the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. It was a bit chilly in the morning, but still, well, we had a few moments. First and foremost here with Pro Shifter qualifying, having a scare for Kyle Wick and crew, and along with that, a moment there for Frankie Iadavea in one of the warm-up sessions there, a loose right rear hub, and the quick thinking to try and get back out onto the racetrack for the Maranello crew. Overall, though, can't say anything but positives about our visit once again to the MCC Kartplex. This place has provided fantastic action. Week in, week out, weekend in, weekend out. It's been a pleasure to get to call the SKUSA Pro Tour, to have you with me here, Justin, of course, and to have all of you watching along back home. America's best, joined now by more and more of the world's best for one of the biggest North American championships there is, and the road to Las Vegas, well, it's only got a handful more stops now and another weekend closer as we continue the Pro Tour run into Newcastle, Indiana. More Kart Chaser action on our summer stretch continues as soon as next weekend, and it all builds towards SKUSA Super Nationals in November. For myself, the awesome MCC Kartplex crew, the Super Karts USA officials, and for our incredible Kart Chaser team of Justin Prince, Caleb Vieska, Alexander Searle down on pit lane, our hardworking camera crew and production crew, and social media team as well. We hope you've enjoyed it. We have too.